Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
The NFL trade deadline was today, and the Panthers stood pat, neither buyers or sellers. And coming off a seminal win against the Green Bay Packers, you wonder if it's a turning point for this team now and for the future. But on top of that, the New Orleans Saints, we're hosting the New Orleans Saints, division rival, and a an awfully awful team right now. We're an offense that is just abysmal. And they're trading and selling an opportunity for the Panthers to kick a foe in the groin and to get more momentum is here. The Carolina Panthers are maybe fighting for a division late in this season. I'm so ready to talk about it with you, the listener, but most importantly, my co-host, the wheelman, the bad boy of the internet, Cody Lack.
Tony Dunn, there's nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than sitting here with my boys talking Panthers football. Hey, the Saints, they are in the midst of a fire sale, baby. They are getting rid of some of their offensive firepower in order to prepare for the draft. There was a couple big trades today, and none of them involved the Carolina Panthers. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk more about this W over the Green Bay Packers. That was one of their most shocking losses, upsets since the 1970s. And Tony Dunn, we have an incredible interview tonight that we will be having. I'll let you introduce the guest when it's time. But you know there's nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than sitting here with my boys talking Panthers football. But the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube, you know I'm going to love them. It's Anthony Brown, Joey the Blind Panther, Classic TV 300, David Screws, C3 Dougie, Drew with the Flu, Hank Rebel, Harvey London, John B. Jenkins, Michael Wydrick, what's up, brother? Rock Rhyme, The Real AP, and VR, The Hope Dealer. Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. CK, be here in just a second. No need to tease them. All I can say is this. If you had $150,000. Yeah. Carolina Mike. Internet sensation right now, Carolina Panther fan. It's a wonderful. I'm excited about this because this is really the kind of the real focus of this podcast is about being a fan, right? And so we're gonna interview this fan, where we'll hang out with tonight with Mike at 9:30 to talk about his viral hit and this banger he's got going on right now. It's been noticed by the Panthers, Barstool, national media, and it's been fun for Carolina Panther fans. But I'm really interested in just learning about a Panther fan, and it's always really fun to learn about Panther fans that aren't in North Carolina or South Carolina.
If none of you know who we're talking about, you can go to my profile, check out the post that I retweeted for tonight, and you can see the Panthers official Twitter account has retweeted him. Barstool retweets him. The dude is going hella viral, and he's giving Panther fans a good name. So shout out to Carolina Mike. It'll be a fun interview.
The Carolina Panthers are second in the division. They have a 21st ranked offense. Let me check this out to check the defense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A top 15. Their 13th ranked offense according to yards. And man, it's exciting. It's starting to get a little fun to be a Panther fan. And I think we're gonna have a little fun tonight, CK.
Man, it's been a while to feel this level of optimism this late in a season I don't know that we felt this way since 2017, which is a wild proposition to realize that 2017 is coming on 10 years ago almost. Dude, it's one of these things where I know it's very possibly fool's gold. We haven't really been showing it in a dominant way to make us feel like this is a team that we can rely on week in and week out. But man, I'm living in the moment right now. There's a lot of people selling the farm right now, and the Panthers at the quarter mark of the year where we were 1-3, we were thinking we were going to be sellers at this point, and here we are. We were contemplating buying. Like, we were all thinking, like, maybe we should go after a guy. Maybe we should. What, they got this guy for a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick. Man, we could have done that. Like, there was some excitement. There's some things that made us feel as though there was a possible, there was some hope, and maybe there were a few players that could make this team a contender. Nonetheless, we stayed put. But I mean, it's exciting to be halfway through the season and a positive record with hope for the future, and still just as much contention upon the fan base, that's causing some divisiveness between Bryce Young and things like that. But outside of that, man, it's just good to be a Panthers fan right now.
It'll be nice to see how this team grows throughout the season, not only because each Sunday right now is on the relevant side, right, as we hit that point where there's been moments where it could have gone a different way. But the Carolina Panthers right now are second in the division. They're sitting there at 5-4 with a real opportunity to move to 6-4, and an opportunity really to see what they can do. Now, I don't know how much of my I think it's just really fun to have two things going at the same time, where the season each week matters. There's hope for this season, but really, I'm really excited to see how this team continues to grow, because I like to see what it can become in the future as well. And I think we get a lot to do. We'll see a lot of that, and it'd be nice to witness that and not just witness it in misery, should I say. It's the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by, now we're just C3 Panthers podcast. And you check us out on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your stuff. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, be a part of the conversation. Carolina Mike at 9:30 on Twitter at Real Carolina Mike. Have some fun at the 9:30 hour. We'll get to our underdog picks in a little while. But let's go ahead and start out the show. 2 pumps is enough to put Carolina above 500. Carolina is like viral on the internet right now. There are 3 viral stories for the Carolina Panthers. One with the Rico Dowdle celebration. Which one is it? It's Key, right?
Key and Pill.
Yeah.
Key and Pill. Which
by the way, was so popular enough that everybody felt that was the official rule. That like all it required was 2 pumps and you were good. But shout out to Key and Pill. That turns out that wasn't what it was.
Keegan Michael Key. Wait, hold on, good Lord.
Yeah, Michael Key.
Keegan Michael Key. Good
Lord. Keegan Michael Key.
Keegan Michael Key. Yeah. Keegan Michael Key comes out with a response video of they're gonna have to redo the skit. That is funny that you think that people thought it was a rule. I think now he should do the what my favorite part, the first in the sketch is the first one where when he does the pumps and the guys are getting shot. Obviously, Key is a big football fan. He goes on Rich Eisen show every year and talks some stuff. Had some of the great skits of football names and stuff. And this one goes viral with a celebration after Rico Dowdle a celebration that ended up actually getting a penalty, putting the Panthers in a difficult situation when they missed the extra point, and really kind of seemingly mattered all throughout. But fun. You get a fun viral story there while you've got Rico Dowdle just running all over the league and really leading the NFC South and one of the best backs in the league right now.
He's the NFC leading rusher. Now, not in the entire league, but the NFC leading rusher, which is crazy when you realize for almost half of his entire games he's split carries with Chuba Hubbard.
You get that. You get Carolina Mike, who's coming on at 9:30. If you had $150,000, like, I mean, or if I had, right? So that one's blowing up. The Panthers are putting that on. And then the Meow mix, the story just continues to pillage the internet. And boy, I got a little embarrassed to say this, is like when I have to just be there for the comments. And I don't have any meanness in my heart, but I'm just like, these comments, they're all over the place. The Carolina Panthers.
Were they good or bad? I didn't check them
bad.
out.
That's roasting these guys like crazy.
Oh, you mean for Meow Mix? Oh, yeah, dude. We gotta talk about that at a certain point.
We have to. It's the third viral story, though. We are. I know. The toast and talk of the town in the NFL in a way, and from positive like news coverage. Now the Panther players, this is really where this story has gone, is reaction from it started with Icky, then post players and Jonathan Stewart, Trey Boston have gotten in on it. So the Panthers, we are, you know how many times in the 13 years we've been doing this show that we've talked about how Panther fans bemoan the lack of attention, the lack of coverage.
Yeah,
man, we're a centerpiece right now when it comes to pop culture.
Yeah,
in a certain way, and it's kind of fun. But what's most fun is that the Panthers are the centerpiece of discussion because they're trending in the right direction, hosting the New Orleans Saints and being able to step forward and potentially not only be relevant down the stretch, but really have an opportunity to compete for a division, maybe even a wild card in some cases. And it comes and it's like really shows you, man, the NFL from week to week can change the temperament. I mean, think of how I felt after the New England Patriots lost. That was the one that kind of sent me into like, oh Lord, I don't know if this is how is this gonna work? We go on the 3-game stretch, and then I actually did not have the reaction that so many people had with the Bills one. I told you I didn't think it was as worse as that New England. But is how did they respond? How they follow up? So now you go into despair mode. A lot of people that you're blown out by Buffalo at home. The whole stadium's full of Buffalo Bill fans. The end is here. The end of days is here. The sky is falling. And then you go on the road, and really, you just eke it out. But really a respectable game. Winning as an underdog on the road is a big feat in itself, no matter where you're at in the NFL. Beating a team that the Carolina Panthers have historically had so many problems with, particularly at their, this is not an easy match.
No,
the Green Bay Packers were seen as one of the best teams in the league. And they win the division.
Certainly one of the best teams in the NFC, maybe one of the best teams in all the NFL. And almost nobody in media was predicting that the Panthers were going to win this.
And they shouldn't have.
I say media, but even most Panther fans weren't predicting us to win this game, especially after what had just happened against the Buffalo Bills. So the Carolina Panthers came out and put on a gutsy ass performance, and some of our main players on offense stepped up. You already know that man Rico Dowdle continues to show out why he is the beginning, middle, and end of our offense.
Yeah, but
everybody stepped up in a big way. And one of the players that we're going to focus on earlier tonight is number 79 out of NC State, young Ikem Ekwonu. Young's average time to throw passes from snap to pass was 2.80 seconds on Sunday. He faced only 9 quarterback pressures, the second fewest in a game this season. The offensive line held the dynamic Parsons to no pressures the entire game, led by Ikem Ekwonu, who faced Parsons on 13 of the latter 21 pass rush snaps, including 9 snaps one-on-one. It was the first time in Parsons' career he hadn't registered a single pressure in a game. Now, in the past, Micah Parsons, he had pretty much abused Icky before. And we've all worried about his ability to hold up in pass protection. Well, this year he is putting those concerns to bed. He said we had a game plan to get the ball out quickly, and Bryce accomplished that for us. He was very decisive. The receivers were running fast, presenting themselves in the time that we needed to. You get the one, maybe you get the one hitch, and then it's time to go and make a decision. Bryce got some first downs with his legs. Our offensive line did a great job in terms of giving us enough time to get to that first read, second possible, and then getting the ball out. And boys, if you just listen to PFF, his overall grade was a 75.6, pass blocking grade of 70.2, and a run blocking grade of 76.8. Now, boys, we have long talked about Ikem Ekwonu and his development, specifically as a pass rusher. It feels like he is putting a lot of our concerns to bed, and he had an all-time performance, not only for his career, but even compared to what other left tackles have done against Micah Parsons. This is literally everything that we wanted to see out of Icky in what is now his fourth year, I believe.
Yeah, I think the Icky situation is intriguing because he's been one of the most healthy players we've had since his tenure here with the Panthers. And I think that he's had his ups and downs, but overall his trajectory has been upward, right? And so next year we are going into his fifth year. We did pick up his fifth year option, so he is going to be a Panther next year. But we have to make a choice going into next offseason about whether we extend Icky. And quite honestly, I don't know how you don't.
Got to. We're doing it mid-season, like Aiden Hutchinson right now.
Yeah, you're talking about locking him up so that there's no concern, there's no worry, and quite honestly, you may be doing that with a couple of these players with the amount of cap space that we have, with maybe even that including a Rico Dowdle. But at the end of the day, man, Ikem Ekwonu, it's a moment that I'm happy to say that he has turned it around, because there were a lot of fans. There were people here. I mean, there was people here. We all questioned whether he was left tackle material, but this dude has showed up in a big way for pretty much his entire career here. And I think it's worthy of us acknowledging that and giving this dude the praise that he deserves.
Yeah, certainly. A great story right here is it's these stories that remind us of the hyperbole that the internet and the hyper focus that Twitter, that even the podcast and daily podcasting goes, people breaking news, like the hyper focus on every play, every snap, every moment of every team has accelerated the timelines for people, right? And then this goes across the board for any draft pick and for higher end draft picks. Even though there is a latitude given to them that comes with your high round draft pick, you're going to stick around for a certain amount of time. The expectation and the spotlight that this constant coverage does can distract us in a sense that these guys are growing as players. You know, Icky started out as a rookie and really great in pass coverage, and we also another good kind of story to show you that the context and the situation of a player matters. Right? Is his second year would have been the Frank Reich debacle. Right. And we're talking about a team that was in so much disarray, even though they brought in that former Green Bay. I think that was the one when we practiced against Aaron Rodgers when he was with the Jets and he busted in his Achilles the first year, in the first game. But you remember, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was so like kind of barky and feisty of offensive line coach. You just assumed he was great and everybody talked about it. But like Icky, I mean, like many rookies do, had a tough second year, and it wasn't only because of his performance. It goes across the line. Offensive linemen continue to be so reliant on as a unit, and really we need to be celebrating the offensive line and the coaching and the continuity these guys have maintained in all of this injury that they faced. But Icky and this, they didn't pick up his fifth year option, right? So then he's in the 4th year playing for a contract, and he's been a non-story until this week. And a non-story at left tackle is the best story. Do you remember how many years we never talked about Taylor Moton? Because he was doing his job. So it's great to see this guy growing into what you drafted them to be. The Panthers need these guys. And look, maybe again, you're coming off of this win. Does this win become emblematic of a turnaround for the Carolina Panthers? Because it's does this represent a moment? And Icky and the Micah Parsons story is a fulcrum point in some ways. Just like we need some of those high investments, those high-end investments to pay off and stick around. So you have this look, and where maybe the stars are coming into alignment. G baby, he messaged me today, and he said, "You watch out, Tony. You said that they're not." He said they're going to be extending him before next year, Bryce Young. But look at this. Think of this: J.C. Horn coming into top corner, right? Extension, really grown into the player throughout any doubts of injury and this and that. Now you got Icky, another first round pick, high end pick, looking to becoming the player that you drafted him to be on the timeline, on God's timeline. This is God's timeline. This is not our timeline, right? And so then you get that. And then look at this. Could right now Sunday be a coming out party for Bryce Young? Think about that, solidifying another top pick as an essential one. Tetero, this is how you build a team that can have sustainable success, what David Tepper wanted to do. Great story. And look, this is a viral story. The Carolina Panthers, think of the publicity, the spotlight, Green Bay win, Micah Parsons, bringing all of that attention. Jerry Jones out there talking about he's never seen a player taking and resting on the training table before at this point. And Ekwonu making his name and making a paycheck potentially here. Great news for the Carolina Panthers. And really, not only is he the storyline, this offensive line, guys, we didn't even know one of the guys' name. Yeah, I don't know what one of the guys. I still haven't even learned it.
This is one of the things I said on the postgame show, Tony, that it's indicative of a really good football team when you can go through injuries and then your depth, your backups will come in and actually provide enough for you to win those games. That's incredibly important. And look, speaking of Vicky, even though we have had an entire season of, guys being injured, coming in and out, Icky has been the rock that has been in pretty much every game. He hasn't missed one game, right? He's been consistent the entire time. And look, boys, we have to talk about this, right? Now there are two players on this Panthers team that fans are looking forward to not losing in the future. That's Ikem Ekwonu after putting Micah Parsons in the blender. And, of course, that's Rico Dowdle, who continues to be the lifeblood of our offense as it stands right now. My question is, how likely is it that he, and when I say he, I mean Ikem Ekwonu, could be paid before the end of this season? Because
I don't know how likely it should happen.
But remember, though, we're talking left tackle money. Yeah. The longer you wait, the more this is going to get more and more and more expensive. That being said, the Carolina Panthers are sitting on a pretty penny of cash. I do believe we're top 10 in free agent money to be able to spend. I believe we're around $27 million. So we're going to be able to kick around some money in the offseason. Yeah. Brent Tillis might be able to move some of that around even further. But I think as a fan base, we need to start considering, hey, is it possible to sign Ikem Ekwonu sooner than expected? Tony, before we go forward, I wanted to make sure I get these super chats. Hank Rebel with the $5 says, whoop, whoop. Everyone, hope everyone's good. Been a while. Glad to be back. Glad to have you back, Hank. And then VR, the Hope Dealer, says, love the culture we are building. A shift is here. Tony,
get the disclaimer ready.
Yeah, man.
Carolina Mike joining us in just a moment right here. But before that, we got to so hang around that sensation. Again, the Panthers viral on multiple levels, from the 2 pumps to Carolina Mike to the story of Green Bay and the turnaround. Hang around, because we want to just learn about this fan experience and enjoy it, because it's been a minute since we've got to just enjoy the moment. But before that, you guys, you know what you can enjoy? You can enjoy making some money playing daily fantasy football. And Underdog.com is the way to go. You go to Underdog, or you just go to the App Store, wherever you download your apps. You get Underdog Fantasy, and you can make money using your football knowledge playing daily fantasy sports. You pick a couple of players. Hey, just pick Rico Dowdle, more. Pick touchdown, right? This right now, the league is scared of the Carolina Panthers. There are no what do we call it? Like projections yet for yardage for Bryce Young, Rico Dowdle, because nobody knows who even the Saints are, as they've been selling players. So you can go and take $1 and turn it up to $1,000. Get your pick right, and you get your picks right and play it right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. That's crazy money. We have fun playing Underdog right now. Rico Dowdle, do you want to say yes to the first TD score? I don't know. Maybe. It wouldn't be a bad one. We want to say higher to a touchdown? Go get the Underdog app, but you got to make sure you use the promo code C3P. Bryce Young, is he going to rush or receive a touchdown? I don't know if I'm hitting that one, but I will say this, is I'm ready for 1.5 passing touchdowns. Hit the higher for me. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com, or more easily download the Underdog app. But what you got to do to help us and to take advantage of your bonus entries, you can get, when you play $5, you can get $100 in bonus entries for your first time user. But you got to do this. You got to use the promo code C3P. Cody, let the lawyer speak.
Yes, sir. Must be 18 years of age, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets, underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms/dfs.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-8778-HOPE New York, or text HOPE NY to 467-369. Thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the C3 Panthers podcast.
It's the moment you've been waiting for. Thanks for you guys for hanging out with us. Thanks for your time, attention, and energy. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. We're here right now. We're bringing in Carolina Mike, the internet sensation. Mike, well, it's Carolina Mike, M-I-C. I'm going to tell you this. I got a text from my future stepdaughter, and she said yesterday, she sent me this Instagram, and I said, dude, this is the most wonderful thing I've ever seen. Or is that dude? So she said, get him on the podcast ASAP. And she lives in Maryland. She's not necessarily historically a Carolina Panthers fan, but becoming interested. And you're a sensation at her bar before even this video. Thanks for joining the C3 Panthers podcast. I have to start this by asking one simple thing. If you had $150,000, what would you do?
Well, I'm going to answer your question with a question, and it goes like this. If you had 150,000.
Yeah.
Love it, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for your time. Please just introduce yourself to our audience a little. I know you as Carolina Mike. The Mike is the music Mike. Is your name Mike?
It is. It is a play on words.
Perfect.
It's like a triple entendre. The logo is like the word mic, like microphone, and the I is a microphone. I mean, we're just getting as meta as we possibly can. Also, I don't want to be rude and not answer your question, but if I had $150,000, I'd probably buy a yacht.
Okay.
Wait a minute. That's not enough to buy a yacht.
It's not.
No.
Do you know Chad goes? have you seen this guy? Chad goes deep on the internet. Like he's like his big thing is CK, you've had to see him. They made their thing during COVID, and they would go to town council meetings and have these like ridiculous. And he had this big one. He went to a town council meeting. He's like, partying on a yacht brings people's chi up or something like this. And they it's so great. But Mike, thank you for coming on. We're a fan podcast. We've been doing this from 2014. And the most important part is just we've been interested. We're not football experts. We're expert football fans. We're interested in the fan experience. From what I've learned about you just from the internet so far, you're in Minnesota. How'd you become a Panthers fan?
Couple of things. One fun fact is when I was in college, we went to the groundbreaking ceremony and performed at the groundbreaking ceremony of Erickson Stadium. It's way back in the.
Where'd you go to college at?
Furman University in Greenville, South Carolina. So marching band went over there and played for that groundbreaking. And then once I got to Minnesota, I followed them through the 1-15 season. And I was like, you know what? I rock with them for like 15 losses in a season. I feel like I could rock with them
forever.
Yeah. And I've always loved just they've been known for staunch D and having heart and being gritty. And this year kind of reminds me of the Cardiac Cats year when they went to the Super Bowl the first time. And it was just like a dream. So
it's been a tough road to hoe at times, particularly even doing this podcast over the last 8 years. I became a fan when Julius Peppers was drafted. He grew up down the street. I live in Greenville, North Carolina. He's from Bailey. It's about 35 minutes. And that was when I was becoming a football fan. I hadn't been historically a football fan. As a younger kid, I played hockey and then baseball and skated and stuff. But, all of a sudden there's this and like this player and this moment coming out of that. And you're right, man. Those moments, they do kind of chisel your resolve into fandom. Tell us a little bit about how you got, marching band. I played the saxophone in marching band in high school. What was your instrument and tell us about your music career and how this has been fun for you too this week.
Sure. I'll give you a condensed version of how I even got into music. So in 6th grade, they gave us a little, listening quiz, like, can you tell if this note goes up or down? And I was like, I passed that and was able to go into band in the 7th grade. But we weren't able to buy an instrument or rent an instrument. And big props to my first band director, Pat Wiley, rest in peace. I told him, I was like, I can't really rent an instrument or buy an instrument. He was like, here, can you make a buzzing sound on this mouthpiece? And I went, and he was like, okay, you're playing euphonium. So,
oh, wow.
But the beauty of that is that because of that, I never had to buy or rent an instrument ever because those instruments are owned by the schools. And then when I went to college, it was owned by the school. Went in the Marine Corps, played in the band, it was owned by the Marine Corps. So I never had to spend a dime on an instrument. So from 7th grade on, I've been in band, marching band, jazz band. And then once, right around 2018, I heard a song on the radio, and it was actually Gucci Gang. I heard that song, and I called up my best friend. I was like, you know what? This song it just goes Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. Like I can literally make a song. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make the hook be, I pay all my bills on time. I pay all my bills on time.
Yeah.
And I made it. It's not my finest moment of music, but it was my first release around 2018. And then we've just been kind of releasing music ever since.
But before I ask you about how this has been fun, you're getting recognition from the Panthers and Barstool, and Abby, who sent me this, is in the chat. I saw her pop up in the chat. She's also a former Marine too, so that she's gonna love that to see that. At what point are you gonna have to adjust the hook for inflation? No. All right, I've been waiting for that one.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice one.
How has this week been though?
I'm telling you, man, just today, there have been 6 groundbreaking things that happened today. And these are 6 things that I don't think some people never experience them ever. And I experienced all 6 of these amazing opportunities in one single day. Not to include.
Can you give us one? And you don't be specific, but can you just give us what was something like that?
This morning I was on Fox Sports 1, Wake Up Barstool.
Oh, nice.
And one of my dreams was to have my music played on TV or synced on TV, commercial, movie, whatever. And when they asked me to come on yesterday, I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't really know much about the channel or the show. I thought it was like a regular podcast, like go right straight to the internet. But then like people were like hitting me up like, yo, we saw you were on TV. And I was like, what? That was TV? And so, that's one thing. And just the whole Panthers. I mean, I don't have to keep that secret. It's out there. The Panthers reaching out, and they were so kind to ask before grabbing the video. So they asked if they could use it, which I really appreciated. I was like, sure, let's rock. And then the video that they cut together, man, that thing just
fun.
Off. Like,
it's fun, right?
Yeah. So that's 2 out of the 6 things.
That's wonderful, man.
My name's Cody. Thank you for being on the pod, man. Like I said, you're a superstar right now. It's really awesome to have you here. In your song, you mentioned, not having a Lamborghini up in Minnesota because it snows too much. But I think a Lamborghini is kind of cool anywhere, huh?
It would be. Now, technically, it's a Porsche because that's my dream car. Lamborghinis are cool, but a Porsche I feel is more attainable. And I've never driven a Lamborghini, but I love the look of the 911. And I don't really remember your question, but
but actually my question is about this season. How do you feel about this team so far? We're 5-4. We've had some tough losses, but right now we're second place in the division. How do you feel about this team so far and what they've been able to accomplish, and just your thoughts overall on this up and down 2025 season?
I think they're gelling, and I think Coach Canales has got everybody on the right mindset, man. And I saw some clips of Bryce talking about, a couple of things. He said, we're family, it's us against the world. And that really, I mean, even given the fact that they came out victorious, I was listening to, ESPN, whatever. I listened to that while I'm doing my day job, and I was just waiting for them to talk about, how good that was. And it just seemed like it was more like, oh, the Pack lost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, man. So, but I feel great. I feel great about it. It's the heart. I feel like they just got a lot of heart.
Jump in there.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think this team absolutely is playing with a tremendous amount of heart. Listen, I think that, you and I live on 2 opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to the Panthers. I am known by the Panthers for negative reasons. I don't know if you remember the drone gate situation from about a year and a half ago at training camp when somebody was flying their drone at training camp. Well, that was me, and they actually inevitably unfollowed me. I'm happy to hear that somebody has a positive experience with them moving in the right direction. So hopefully that'll continue for many of those content creators.
And to clarify, in CK's defense, he is a licensed drone pilot, had the clearance, the air clearance, and actually was all within it wasn't even a big deal, and reached out to the Panthers. They didn't even knock on his window while he was flying the drone too. These mugs were on it. So,
yeah, dude, they were all over.
McAfee moment.
Yeah, that was my Pat McAfee moment, and that was a whole thing that is interesting, a conversation we can have for if ever interested. But when you're seeing this positivity, all of this work that you've put in since 2018, even well before that, based on the fact that you've been working through music, through school and all of that, but the real art that you've been putting into this, culminating into something that is actually being recognized and enjoyed, and not in a way that is like, similar to the 2015, when there was the Trailer Park Boys that were, playing with the radio.
Greenville, North Carolina, by the way, CK.
Right. It's not like people are actually, it's a banger. It's like, even though there's a funny aspect to it, it's like really enjoyable to listen to it. So being on that side of things and seeing everything kind of culminate. I know it's not the final place you want to end up, but you're moving in the right direction. What does that mean to you, and how does that continue to drive you forward to continue to make this type of music?
It means a lot. I mean, one of my goals, along with, you know, having my music synced on TV, is to just spread positivity and have people like smile and have fun, have a good time. You know, like, I love it when people laugh like with me. You know, no one wants to be laughed at, but I love it if people are laughing with me. And it helps. You know, it's tough as an independent artist because you're grinding out the music. You put it on review shows. You know, everyone's got a review show, right? Sends $5 to skip, or we'll review your song. And I mean, some early reviews of that song back in 2023 were like, you know, it's not all that, you know, but I still released it. And also it just shows you continuing to grind away and produce and promote, because like I said, this song came out in 2023. Okay. That was the first, it was only one verse.
Right.
But then by a series of fortunate events, the internet asked for more. My mentors told me to like suck it up and open up the song and add a second verse. So in 24 hours, I wrote a second verse. And but it all started July 4th of this year, when I just made another video random in front of my garage, wearing the, you know, polo tucked in with the khaki shorts and the Panther socks, and it started taking off. And
the money is a good, the Monopoly money is a good touch.
That was a last minute ad. Like, so, you know, the reason I made that video with the Monopoly money is because I was practicing before going to an open mic. Okay. And I was like, I better do it here in my live in my house to see if I can even do it. And I was like, oh, well, I was tossing my hand up in other videos, and I was like, well, here we go. Let's put some Monopoly money and see what happens. And then the rest is history.
It's really got a great, not only is it the music good and fun, but it's got that internet appeal, you know, where it's got like these, that effect really brings and captures a lot of what can. I mean, it's really neat. I mean, I've never gone viral in a sense, but it's got to be fun and exciting.
Thank you. It is.
How about this? How's it like being a Panther fan? And we've been doing this for so long. It's been building a community. We have made friendships with people in the UK. Like we were really interested. I mean, Germany. I mean, we have people emailing me that live in Italy that listen to our podcast. We're just part of our family. One of my favorite things is I saw that video that I was looking at. The next one was you at a sports bar watching the game, and you said, "Look, it's all Packer fans around here." And then you had your money with you, which is even great. And it was polite and all of this. How is it? What's the experience like being a Panther fan in places where there are legacy teams surrounding you, and ultimately we've been in a tough place as an organization. We've been a very successful organization. Don't get that wrong, people. Is like for our short-lived, 2 Super Bowl appearances, some great moments. We have had this kind of drudgery moment though in the since 2018 that's been tough, and it really felt like it's like going to get out of control. What's it like being a fan in places where you have the legacy of the Packers, the Vikings, and I would say the Bears, but man, they got a tough road too.
It's a lonely place, I'll tell you that. And it varies. Like it depends on the crowd. Sometimes, like in past years, when I'd be out, or if I go to a game, like a couple of times I went to when the Panthers came to Minnesota, I went to see them, and people were just rude, like just nasty to you, like. Especially if, when we didn't win, and it's like, really? Like, I'm just a regular person, bro. Like, I don't play for the team. Why you got to be nasty? And then other people just kind of keep to themselves, like in that bar, in the bar after the fact. Dude, I was so ready to do that because, like I said, every single tiny positive thing that occurred for the Pack, they were like, yeah. It was like and I was like, okay, all right. Well, score's tied. And I just sort of positioned I positioned the little thing that holds up your menu. I positioned it, and I was like, I tested out to make sure that if I put my phone there, I'd be good. And as soon as I didn't even watch the field goal go in live because I was waiting for their reaction and setting up my phone. And if they didn't have a good reaction, I knew that we won. And I went in right into the 150,000.
God is great right there. We've got a video we're going to play a little while in the show of this Packers kid who's on the internet going, and he just goes nuts. And it is, and I saw somebody you put up there, I guess all publicity is good publicity. You got some people saying, you said this is like among the ranked most annoying songs, and you were nice in court. Remember, I think you put an Instagram post up about it, and it was like, this is fine with me or something.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And you know, the internet can be a nasty place, but this was fun, man. It was fun for us. Let me just end this is like, thanks for being a Panthers fan. Thank you for like, we need, it's like we need to lock arms at times and when things are bad. This is nice. You really got, I mean, it's a good moment too. The Panthers trending, and it seems like this could be a meaningful and potentially future changing moment for the Panthers. I'm so happy for you that this is going to like maybe continues you on the pathway of whatever goals and whatever even goals you don't even know you have yet. But let's do this is we have not the largest audience, but one of the most loyal audiences on the internet. They've rocked with us through thick and thin for 13 seasons now. So tell us this, Mike, is how can we help you as fellow Panther fans continue to grow as a musician and a Panther fan?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for asking that. And the biggest thing is just to hammer away on my Instagram. Just go follow everybody listening. Go follow. Ask folks to follow Instagram. It's Carolina_MIC. Carolina_MIC. And stream. I got the latest release that just came out in October. It's called Maple Syrup. And if I had $150,000, stream it, put it on a playlist, and let it rock.
When I messaged you today, because one of my favorite parts is you said, if I had $150,000, but I don't. And I sent you a message, or I think it was something to that effect that you said the song. And I said, if I had $150,000, I'd have you on the C3 Panthers podcast, but I don't.
Yes. Yes.
So I will say, if I had $150,000 right now, I would have you cut a 10-second clip about the C3 Panthers podcast. And but guess what? I don't.
That's okay. I think we might be able to work something out. So stay in touch with me on that. I think
I'll do you a voiceover. How about that?
There you go. Just be look. We wish you the best.
I do have one more. I do have one more question for Mike. Do you have any future bangers in the works right now? What do you have?
Maple syrup.
What do you have cooking up for the future, man?
I do have something cooking up. But I got to work on the title. Okay. The current title right now is Mike Funk, and my daughter thinks it's cheesy, the title, but she loves the track. So if my daughter loves the track, then I think that means that there might be some there. So
well, you know what they told you in 2023, and you stuck with it. In 2023, you spent $5 for someone to tell you, I don't know. And guess what? You knew. And I tell you, we all make mistakes in life. We all make poor decisions and things like that. But some of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life is not trusting my intuition on something. So you believe in it, you stick with it. Mike, thank you so much for your time on the C3 Panthers podcast. We're your fans right now. You already got 3 loyal fans here and many more, and I can't wait to see what you do. And I'm ready for those bangers, bro.
I love it. Right, DM me about that 10-second clip.
There you go, man. Thank you so much. You have a great night, and go Panthers, man. Keep pounding.
Let's go. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, brother. Thank you, Mike.
All right, take it easy.
CK, you said it's nice to have fun again.
Yeah.
You know,
it's fun to be able to have a conversation that isn't always just about football, but still Panthers adjacent. And anything that isn't about Panthers football, but Panthers adjacent has been negative for the past 5-6 years.
That is a great point, CK, because I mentioned Cody, the bad boy of the internet in the beginning of the story. Or the show and stuff. Like, you're right, as the adjacent stories have brought stress and controversy and things, and one of the things that has been so meaningful about this podcast in my life is that it's been the Carolina Panthers, but it's been more than that to me, and the friendships and the opportunities, and look, and just getting to meet Mike right here and to meet someone who's a fan, has this, their own life and their experiences and things. And you're right. It's football adjacent. And now it's football adjacent positive.
Yes. It's
Wonderful
football
stuff.
adjacent celebration. It's just it's good to be not the laughing stock of the NFL right now. Imagine how it feels being the Dolphins right now,
the Jets, the Saints. Oh,
the
you know
Jets,
what?
No, the Jets are in such a great spot. Like, think about the picks that they have. Everybody else, if I'm looking around the league and I'm looking at who is lost today, it is the Dolphins, like, with no question about it, right? They didn't trade anybody away for any significant draft capital, but it's clear that they're in tank mode. We've been there, and it's a crappy place to be, but it's nice to be on the other side of it, at least from the surface of where we're at right now.
I want to make sure that we support the fam and friends of the show. I know look, we'll go back. I know we mentioned Hank Rebel earlier in the show, but thank you for it's not a co-payment right now when we're celebrating. It's a love bomb. It's support. It's a C3 bomb. Thank you, Hank. VR, the hope dealer. Love the culture we are building. A shift is here. We also have
we got a new booker, by the way.
What's that?
We've got a new booker. Abby.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right. I know. Don't give. Look, I don't need to give no allowances and where you're going to pay. But we've got C3 -910 Panther fan member.
Yeah, that's Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
Thank you, Kyle. Look at that. This is a great way you can support the podcast in a small way. $1.99 a month. You can be a C3 super fan. Pay Icky and Rico. Need them next year. Thank you, Kyle, for your support. And this is fun. We don't get a lot of super stickers right here. C3 Orange Jelly Ninja with the $9.99 super sticker. You can support the show monetarily by a contribution, becoming a C3 super fan. But most importantly, you can support the show by being a part of it, calling in to the cat calls at 252-228-5098, subscribing on YouTube, Spotify, leaving reviews. YouTube's got a cool thing. After the videos now, you can hit a hype button, which then pushes you through the algorithm. Small things like that continue to help us grow. And look, as Mike's growing, let's grow. Let's grow together. Lock arm, Panther fans. And I think since Cody brought it up, or since CK brought it up, Cody, we might as well just talk about some of the NFL trade news. Today was the trade deadline. The Carolina Panthers were not in the market. I think they did the right thing today by if anything, we mentioned this in the post-game show, is we were out of the seller market. There were rumors about the Panthers potentially, or at least fan created, I think, expressions. The fan GM had shopped ideas of Chuba Hubbard and things. But look, I thought if the Panthers were going to do anything, it would have been small, and I would have been interested. I'm kind of, despite the Carolina Panthers offensive line playing so well this past week, they're decimated by injury. I mean, I don't know. I think we'll see what they did on the practice squad and some things with some depth they potentially added. Carolina Panthers weren't going to be in the big news. Moving Chuba Hubbard out was not the thing. But see, Cody, there were teams that were clearly saying it's time to invest in the full rebuild. I hate that. And we didn't want to be in this. I'm glad we're not in a perpetual rebuild mode.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about it.
They're good shape. But you had buyers and sellers, a lot of selling today from the Jets and the Saints. And tell us about what was going on that we need to know to unpack the NFL today.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest news in all the NFL is coming from the New York Jets and the metric load that they have received from both the Indianapolis Colts and the Dallas Cowboys. First up, the news popped up that Sauce Gardner had been traded from the Jets to the Colts for 2 first-round picks. So, I mean, that blew everyone away because we're talking about what is probably the best corner in the NFL between him and JC, if I'm being real. Maybe you could throw Pat Surtain in there too, but he's definitely one of them ones, right? And then you had their other best defender, Quinnen Williams, traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, there were a lot of rumors that Dallas would be active. There were rumors about Max Crosby potentially going there. I even saw a Myles Garrett trade rumor, but Quinnen Williams is a Dallas Cowboy. So the Jets, they're letting everyone know that they are officially tanking, essentially. They only have one win on the season, and they are looking forward to the future. Now, they have all these draft picks, and just to look at the haul that they have right now, the Jets have 2 first-round picks in 2026. They have 2 second-round picks in 2026, and they have not 1, not 2, but 3 first-round picks in 2027. Man, that's a lot of draft capital, but they're gonna have to do something with it, man.
Yeah, this is a haul and a half off of 2 players, which is crazy to think about. If you're the Jets, the fear that you have is this feels like the 3rd time they've been in this situation. Even though it may feel more like the Browns have been more likely in this situation, it's they've drafted quarterbacks. They have, they had coming into the season. Last year, imagine this, right? Or even 2 years ago, you have Aaron Rodgers. They were considered a Super Bowl contender when Aaron Rodgers was traded to them. And you had the likes of Garrett Wilson, you had Sauce Gardner, you had Quinnen Williams, you had a lot of really important pieces that you can build an entire team around. And now they have just sold the farm, which is an odd decision given that really the difference between them competing and not competing feels as though it may be a quarterback and a coach. So that is the odd part about this, is the tanking has happened while they had all the pieces you can ask for on a team that are going to be key pieces. So it's nice to see these numbers here, but they just fired their GM, right? Or no, that was the Dolphins fired theirs.
Dolphins.
The Jets, let's just assume they're going to be in some sort of a clearinghouse mentality of, in the offseason, whether it's just players or front office. So you've got to really hope that you can trust this front office to get you the players that are worth getting rid of a player like Sauce and a player like Quinnen Williams, who, by the way, keep in mind, Quinnen Williams coming off of 3 years ago being Defensive Player of the Year.
And he's still a monster, dude.
Yeah, you're not talking about a chump here. Right, this is a significant loss to that team, and from the leadership role that dude played.
Yeah, and shout out to Loud Pack Luke, who said we need to trade Chuba. Well, Luke, I hate to burst your bubble, but that will not be happening, as anyone can pretty much gather at this point. The Panthers were not buyers, and they were not sellers either. This is from Dean Jones on catcrave.com. Most of the rumors, boys, were around Chuba Hubbard because Rico Dowdle has been so exceptional. Really the light of our offense right now. There were a lot of teams that were interested in Chuba Hubbard. But Dean Jones goes on to make it clear that the Panthers were not willing to sell him. Hubbard signed a 4-year extension last season, being the alpha dog in Carolina's backfield along Bryce Young. However, the pendulum has swung the opposite direction, with Rico Dowdle's exceptional surge, leaving head coach Dave Canales with no option other than to make him the number 1 moving forward. This has left Chuba Hubbard in a secondary role. The Panthers have given him a shot at cementing his status, but this decisiveness and explosiveness that saw him take the league by storm last season have deserted him. There is a gulf in both production and urgency between the two right now, so it was no surprise to see reports surfacing of the potential switch. Reports from those who closely covered the team indicated that the Panthers had no intention of removing Hubbard from the equation. Dan Graziano from ESPN hinted that the team would be reluctant. Any team would be reluctant to take his contract, even if Carolina became receptive to offers. So the deadline was today at 4 p.m. Eastern. Boys, my question to you is, did the Panthers make a mistake not moving on from Chuba, or are we better off as a football team having him to be able to shadow Rico Dowdle from here on out going forward? What do you say, Tony?
This was not a mistake in the least. I respect everybody's opinion about and like fan how you want to fan believe it, but this was the right move, and I don't even believe that this is got to do with Chuba Hubbard's salary of this and interest. Yeah. I don't know how many teams would be looking at him overall as a player that's really going to make a difference, a good player, but he's more valuable to us here on this team than he would be in a trade. And while Rico Dowdle is having a sensational year, and while we all will be rooting for the Carolina Panthers to do everything in their power to find a way to keep a player that is playing this well and at this moment in their career and to continue that momentum and the growth of this team. Yes, we want Rico Dowdle to be on this team going forward. But you know what? It's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee that the Panthers are able to pull it off. And we don't know what's going to happen. And so I will go to a comment earlier is that to D Young 33 said possible backfield of Rico, Brooks, and ETN next year, right? You have to be prepared. You cannot. One of the things that Panthers have made mistakes in the past, really, you go back into the failures of the Scott Fitter regime, is they put themselves in corners and positions to where they've either had to bank everything or they come on players that they have because they didn't do something, or that they give leverage to players because they have shown that they don't have any other option to this. Dave Gettleman was always, while he sometimes strayed from his own words, he had a lot of thoughts about this, is like, you have to be prepared for this. You don't want to put your position. He said, you don't want to go into the draft hungry and Thursday shopping hungry. And so the Carolina Panthers moving out here would put, moving on from Chuba, would put all the eggs on the basket of re-signing Rico Dowdle. If that's a failure, then the Carolina Panthers are then looking at having to either bet on Jonathan Brooks and Etienne being that they're going to have to go get another guy who's unfamiliar with the team, that may be a bargain, maybe not, or they're going to, again, how many people have been crying and complaining about the Panthers continuing investing in the running back in the draft? What the real solution to this is let Rico run. Let this let the Rico charges stack up, organized crime occurring, and have Chuba Hubbard there to not only be there if he does it, if something happens this season to where it doesn't demolish you as a team, and also if for some reason that you could have him as a staple going forward. I expect the Panthers, look, when they paid Chuba Hubbard, they paid him a fair wage for a fair price on what they needed for that team. And you could say he overpaid, underpaid. They needed him. He was important to the team. He had been good. And I won't be upset if the Carolina Panthers just honor the contract for the longevity of it and keep him around until there's no reason to. And right now, there is a reason to. I don't think this was a mistake. I don't think this was about what other teams being scared of the contract. I think this is, he's more valuable on our team. And it's just not having him is a sixth, a seventh, a fourth. I mean, I really would take a lot of a significant pick. And CK, I'll let you comment that. And I do want to go back to the Jets for a half second after you talk about old Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah. So getting rid of Chuba Hubbard right now, the word, again, all complete rumors, but I think based on what we saw in the trade market, probably an accurate statement. The highest offer was a 5th rounder, right? Even if they were to take his entire contract, it's not worth leaving this backfield with just Travis Etienne, right? And Rico Dowdle, because we've already seen Rico get a little gimpy on a couple of hits throughout that game, even though he is a dog and he made it through the entire, week. Don't get me wrong. But additionally, I think the Chuba Hubbard in the issue that I have in the offseason, if there's a willingness to want to offload him into some, trade that is for a 5th round pick. Okay. The only reason I'm open to entertaining that is because I do think Travis Etienne has a tremendous upside, while also having Jonathan Brooks still on going into his 3rd year. Even if we are concerned about his health being 2 back-to-back years in the ACL tear, that would be my only holdup, is the fact that, those are the only 2 guys backing up Rico. But I don't think that it's worth trying to keep him in the event that we can re-sign Rico. The part that you got to keep in mind is Rico is going to be more expensive than Chuba was, and Chuba got paid a pretty good penny, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't incredible.
This is going to be a problem, because now Panther fans, they're addicted to that run, Rico, run.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if he continues to run at the pace that he has been at. Dude, he has, in such a short amount of time, made so many fans in this fan base that we're going to have a real conundrum on our hands, boys, because that room is loaded. We didn't move on from Chuba. We still have his contract, which is a pretty big contract for a running back. You're going to have Jonathan Brooks coming back from the ACL tear, and you just drafted Trevor Etienne, who, while he hasn't been a world beater, he also has started to come on and started to look really good, and we're using him in a lot more special team situations. So, hey, man, this is going to be something that we're going to have to address at some point in time.
Big shout out to Sacred Noah Gaming. Big ups to our Panthers competing again, and to C3 Panthers Podcast. Prayer for your continuous success. Have enjoyed you guys for years. Cody, I need you to chill on Bryce. He's our future. Trust. Keep pounding. Sacred Noah,
bro.
Thank you for your 1999 contribution to the show. Real quick, circle back to the Jets if you pull that graphic up, because really we are
with the draft picks.
Yeah, CK brought it up, is like kind of it's this decision, this decision point of what to do. Were they kind of good? They're missing the quarterback. One thing is that right now, Aaron Glenn, I think you got to give this guy another season. I think if you believe that the failure of the Jets is just by ineptitude of coaching, but I don't think it's just that simple. But one of the things I think that this is important is, and Cody, you made a great comment too, is like, look, you got this, you got it, but you got to make it happen. And this is what happens for organizations. We were fearing this for ourselves, is like you fall into this continual perpetual rebuild mode, right? And like, when does it kind of catch the momentum point? CK, when you're talking about this, like they had some fabric of makings of a good team, a lot of draft picks, not only draft picks, but guys that actually excelled. You've seen Garrett Wilson, you see Breece Hall, but the Breece Hall is looking for a contract at the end of this year. So he's kind of Garrett Wilson's and dealing with an injury. It's nice, but we have only seen kind of a flash in some ways of a rookie season. And of course he's dealing with quarterbacks. You don't know about your coaching. Like there's an uncertainty to, even though there is an allure or is maybe a facade of some sort of pillars of strength. What I think that's really great about this move for the Jets, but they have none of it's great unless you capitalize.
Right.
It's by having 2 first-round picks in 2026 and then having multiples in 2027. They can realistically go after and arguably they're going to be first or second type pick, the top 3. What you're talking about, the Saints are 1-8. You think of the Jets are 1-8. I don't know if there's any winless, but they're in the runnings for the number 1 pick, right? What this does is, by having 2 first round picks and the top and a top pick, you can go get a quarterback, but you don't have to start him. You do not have to start him, because you got another high round pick that can add excitement and change to the team and deflect a little bit about that. But unlike that within the Carolina Panthers, when we traded all these picks and then you go and get Bryce, it accelerates the timeline and the pressure for them. And so what then the Jets could do is ultimately they could draft a quarterback this year. They could find another bridge quarterback, whether it's stick with Fields or whoever, that they find to just get through to where it's not complete suffering and miserableness. And then in 2027, you can add top tier defensive players or top tier offensive players and get ready for a quarterback that is being groomed for a more successful situation. I think the allure, and I mentioned this earlier, is of the hyper focus of the internet, is it accelerates the timeline of development. We were talking about Icky, is that, and it's okay to want and desire to hold people to a high standard.
Yeah.
But we were ready. I mean, you get so ready, and Bryce is a situation on this. Bryce is but he's more divisive in the conversation because Panther fans are rooting for and against. It doesn't feel like it's like grace given time to develop. But I mean, people calling for Icky's head after week 2 and season 2. You're giving up on guys potentially prematurely. And so the Jets have to pull this off. But this might be a way to do it. And maybe, I don't know if they draft a quarterback next year under Aaron Glenn. I don't know if that would be the right move. Do they one and done Aaron Glenn, get a coach? Good Lord.
Here's the thing, Tony. They're not even under pressure to draft one this next year. Like, if they wanted to build up the team, they have 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. But let's just say, for whatever reason, they like the crop of quarterbacks in 2027 better. They literally have 3 first-round picks to use. So even if they don't have the number 1 overall pick in 27, they have enough ammunition to go up and get just about anyone that they want. Arch Manning started the year looking pretty trash, to be honest. But since then, Texas and their offense have started to look good. He started to play better. There's a bunch of quarterbacks that are going to be coming out in the next 2 years that the Jets might find more attractive in 27 than they do in 26. So when you have that much draft capital, Tony, you can use it in whatever way you want to. Mm-hmm. They could use one of those first-round picks or potentially trade back with the other first-round pick and get even more draft capital. I've only dreamed of being in positions like that for the Panthers, to have that many high draft picks, to be able to restock and retool on talent. I don't ever want to be in the position that the Jets were in to get those draft picks. I mean, even though we kind of have been, but that's an incredible haul. But right now, the Jets have to prove to their fans that they know what to do with them, because the Jets historically have not been a great drafting football team outside of the guys that they just sent away, obviously.
I mean, they've had some success. I think here is, I understand your point about, like, if you believe in a guy that is not this class and you say, remember, is like, and this is the old Dave Gettleman shopping hungry, of the Kenny Pickett. We were shopping hungry on Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis, right? It's like we were so desperate for something at that position. If the Jets feel that committed to that, this is not the class, but the next one is, I'll give you that. But where I don't think that that's a good idea is that the psychology of needing after losing creates the desire for winning so much. And so what I think is that really you have an opportunity to draft a quarterback a high-end caliber quarterback here with another first-round pick, and you're building the team and you're not thrusting him in a position right away where he needs to show and succeed. I think that, to me, you get, if you passed on a quarterback this year. Now, I think that what they need to commit to is drafting a quarterback and not feeling compelled to start them. In fact, fighting the desire at every moment to start them until maybe a person gets hurt or something, and let them come in naturally. Because I guarantee you, Cody, all those draft picks, all those high names, and you get a top pick in 2027, You get all these other sexy picks going around it, and Jets fans, and not just fans, the front end, everybody is wanting it now. And that patience isn't going to be there in 2027 that it could be in 2026. My opinion there. Let's keep going with the show. It's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We'll do one more topic and then start getting into some calls.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's just to sum up what the Panthers did before the trade deadline, which is absolutely nothing. This is from Zach Roberts of Sports Illustrated. Why didn't the Panthers join the NFL trade deadline frenzy? And it basically boils down to this, boys, and it's what we already know. The Panthers were too good to sell, not good enough to buy. Even as they sit a half game out of the playoffs, the Carolina Panthers have no illusions about who they are. Jonathan Jones said it best, noting that the Panthers don't feel like they're one player away. Sauce Gardner or Quentin Williams would have been incredible ads, but it's just not worth it at this stage. Jonathan Jones would later go on to say, Panthers, patience, patience, patience. If you're waiting on snakes and sparklers around the league, you may prepare yourself for poppets in Carolina. I don't get the sense that they're doing anything more than a late round pick swap for a player if they do anything at all. The Panthers know they're building something, and I don't get the sense that they're under any illusions that they're one player away from a deep playoff run. They will want to keep legitimate capital to continue to build through the draft. And speaking of said capital, this is from Jason OTC by way of Keep Pounding Podcast. The 2026 draft capital, we have our first rounder, our second rounder, our third rounder, Minnesota's fifth rounder for Adam Thielen, who, by the way, has not done bupkis for the Minnesota Vikings, another fifth rounder, and a sixth rounder. So the Panthers are sitting on a good bit of money, and we have all these draft picks at our disposal. And if you look at what Dan Morgan and Brent Tillis and Dave Canales were able to do in this year's draft, there's reason to be hopeful that we have a front office that knows what to do with these picks. And that is something that we haven't felt in a long time, actual trust and faith in our front office. And also, if you remember just a few years ago, we had Scott Fitterer, who was making all sorts of trades that ended up
or not making the one that he could have made. We come back and revisit the idea of you're looking at teams like the Saints and the Jets moving and pushing players on, and then you go back to that crazy story that almost too much to believe, but who knows when you see Sauce Gardner getting that Brian Burns could have commanded 2 firsts, CK?
Yeah, 2 firsts to the Rams. 2 firsts to the Rams. We had an opportunity to get that, and then ultimately we would trade him away to the Giants. Just really terrible dealing.
And I know people are going crazy about Brian Burns and the 10+ sacks already. Just a reminder, though, as the Carolina Panthers, one of the great things that they have done and getting better has been committing to stopping the run. The New York Giants, with those stats that they have in sacks, the sexy stat line that hits on the internet, they're among the worst teams in stopping the run. And I don't know if you've noticed, they don't have too many wins. This was the right move for the Carolina Panthers. Sure. I think it's a hot take here. It's actually not a hot take. I really believe in it. Is that if the Panthers, once they won against Green Bay, it is about not being a seller, right? Is if you lose against Green Bay, you could be dipping your toe into selling. I don't think you would be interested in buying. The Panthers lose, if they lose to Green Bay, and maybe in epic fashion, not by losing by 1, but if Rico Dowdle in that loss had ripped off 125 yards, I think the right trade move would have been trading Rico out. And I know that's not going to be, I don't want that to happen. I want him to be a Panther next year. So y'all settle down. But is that this idea of trading away Chuba, it really doesn't impact the team that much. It really probably doesn't impact the salary, that salary cap that much. if anything, is the one thing is that Rico Dowdle just simply might not be a Carolina Panther, not because the team doesn't want him, because the fans don't want him, but because the reality of the world. And Rico Dowdle, a guy, I don't know if you guys just remember against Dallas, who said buckle up, who was upset, undrafted free agent in a successful season with the Dallas Cowboys. And then they passed on him. We got Rico for cheap. You buy cheap, sell high. I'm glad that the Panthers are winning and we're not in the seller's market, though. But I never. Go ahead.
I was going to say, sorry. I mean, it's the idea of us being buyers. I don't think it was ever off of the table. Here, let me explain. I think we could still have the same record we have now, and we become buyers. And that comes down to two potential outcomes. Had we made that competitive game or that Buffalo's Bill game a little more competitive, and if we had won in like convincing fashion against the Green Bay Packers, we're sitting with the same record, but I think they're starting to think, okay, we have a need at this position. This could be the difference maker for an actual run. Now, would that actually turn out to be the case?
Or the wisest move, even?
Right. But I think that you do go into it with a different attitude. Winning 16-13 is not enough to warrant, like, even with the wins we have, like our point differential in the league right now is god awful. Like, our losses have been ugly losses outside of Arizona, right? But our wins have been 3 points, right? We haven't done anything convincingly. And so if we have any level of convincing wins, I think this is a different approach to this trade deadline. But honestly, I think they made the right choice. I think moving in the direction of trying to give away draft capital, especially given how well Dan Morgan's drafting right now, I don't think that
does CK that sentiment does fluctuate from week to week, because Wallace, people were out on Wallace quick, and now he's starting to play better, and he's a genius. You know what I mean? Like, is that I'm happy. I think he's doing the right things, Dan Morgan. But when the wind blows, this and that different ways. I don't know if you guys just remember, not too long ago, him getting chastised about the Jonathan Brooks pick, the Trevor Etienne pick, and like the investment in this. Like, so is that they're not for long football league, and fans are fickle. So like, is that at this moment, because we're having success, he seems like a genius, and I do believe he's doing the right things. Yeah. But that Wallace pick at linebacker, people were contentious about it at the beginning of the season. And you see the Steelers guy, who was the guy that was with Kuechly, that was training, that, like
Aiden Wilson, who got an option on Daniel Jones this week and looked pretty good.
Yeah, but like, is that those wins change so quickly?
Yeah,
and so I do believe
if you're a Panthers fan.
Yeah, and I do believe they're doing the right things overall. I would say this is, I actually have disagreed. Another hot take I've disagreed with is that if the Panthers did say they found themselves feeling like we're feeling saucy right now and we're buyers, right? Is that I don't think we're one player away or something like that. But say they are getting like, ooh, man, a player could make a difference. A lot of people in the internet community, the non-GM community, or even the media has referenced the Panthers' need for pass rush.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a poor move for the Carolina Panthers. They invested highly in two young players, and Prince Umanmielen, also Nick Scorton. Which we have to talk about. We did not put this in the show, Cody, but we're adding it, is the Packers freak out, and the player, the Packers guy, Dobbs, who's then crying about Nick Scorton being a dirty player. We have to talk about this at some point in the show, but I don't think that would have been the right move for the Carolina Panthers. I think if you were going to be a buyer, it's an offensive lineman in depth and linebacker in depth, because if Roseboom or Wallace goes down, I don't even know who the next person is up. So I think
I don't
the
know.
Panthers are doing the right thing. Is we make the most of this season right here and right now. We build this team for now, and we do what Dan Morgan has been great in the last two seasons, addressing significant weaknesses. Couldn't protect the quarterback, took care of it. Couldn't stop the run, took care of it. You know what we need to take care of, Cody? Some cat calls.
Yes, sir. Let me take care of this final super chat. Another one from Sacred Nova says, guys, we need Chuba. Dowdle always dealing with slight injuries through the game. Chuba will get back to being productive before season ends. Appreciate you, Sacred. Hey, man, let's get into these cat calls. The number is 252-228-5098. The longest running Panthers podcast lets your voice be heard. Call in at 252-228-5098. Tony, let's listen to the C3 Legion.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
How y'all doing?
My brother Nick.
Man, I can't
What up,
believe
Nick?
we actually won against Green Bay. I got to go back. I got to rewatch the fourth quarter because I watched the replay and I kind of fell asleep in my recliner. But, you know, it was Sunday. Cold up here in Mass. It's like 31 degrees, 7:30 in the morning on Monday, you know. So it happens. But, guys, we won against Green Bay. We have a winning record right now. Other than, you know, with Sam Darnold and that sort of deal, I haven't seen that with this team. This is new. This is a nice touch. I'm worried a little bit about the health of the team going forward, but as far as the product that we see on the field, you know, a solid 80-85% of the time, it looks like confident football. And that's, I don't know about you guys, but that's all I've really been asking for the last couple of years. Again, I'm worried about the health of the team going forward. It seems like we're kind of catching the injury bug a little bit, you know. I don't know how we're going to finish out the tail end of the season, given all the injuries that keep kind of popping up and kind of keeping us held back just a little bit. But at the end of the day, to see what we've seen so far, I'm happy with it. We have as many wins right now as we did all of last year. Like, that's a good fucking feeling. So, I got a question for you, though, especially for you, Tony. What's the temperature of the room now? You know, you went into the season. I know you weren't very optimistic as far as how things were going to go. You were really worried and concerned about things. There's definitely some things that we got to work on and some things that we need to get better on, even if everybody was healthy. But Tony, what you feeling there, brother? So, love the show, guys. Can't wait to see what happens next week. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, Nick.
Nick, I love you. First, great play on words. Temperature of the room as I moved into a new home. Nick came from Massachusetts. Even did help me with some stuff, and it was hot as shit in this house for like a long time, and like we're getting things figured out. So good play and pun or joke there. To give some callers, though, not callers, some listeners, some context of, not the. I had an epic concern about the team, not because I didn't think they could be progressing, but my epic concern was this: we're doing this podcast. It's been such a long slog. Is that I had it wasn't a fear, but it's like this is a reality. Is like the worst like if we don't at the end of this season, and it was never about wins, But if we don't feel better about Bryce Young, and we don't feel better about, that's the number one thing, feel or have less questions or some answers there. If we don't feel better about Dave Canales, and it's not just tied to wins, is that we get sucked into this vortex of new coach, new quarterback, new coach, new quarterback. And I don't know how much, and I've been so emotionally honest on this podcast, and we'll talk about the Meow Mix stuff, which is bananas, another viral story. And I'm not making fun or poking light at anybody, but I mean, we have to talk about, we don't have to, but we'll talk about things honestly. I just didn't know how much, I mean, and look, I mean, like the turmoils of my own life in the last few years, personally, I was like, I don't know how much I can really do this, and not like quitting the podcast or something, but like the doomsday scenario could be real, could have been real. And to be honest, after the start that the Carolina Panthers had, I didn't think it was going to be doomsday. But, you know, you lose to Arizona, you lose to Jacksonville, you lose to Arizona, the New England game. If we would not have caught that little fire in that 3-game stretch, you know, I was so honest with Nick. He's like, I just don't know if I could. How many more coaching searches can I withstand?
I said to you that the coaching carousel is almost just as demoralizing as the quarterback carousel. To constantly have a new leader of your team, to constantly have a new vision for what the team is supposed to be. Is it a defensive head coach? Is it an offensive head coach? Are they calling plays? Is it an older generation head coach? Is it a young, unproven guy? It's just so annoying and so taxing on Panthers fans.
Like my soul. I mean, there was one time somebody sent a message to me after they listened to the podcast, and they were like, dude, I felt the pain of just like, I mean, I'm going to be here for it. I'm going to go through all of it. But what I don't want at the end of this season is to be looking for a new coach. And, you know, and I'm going to tell everybody, because all this crazy crap that whatever the internet creates about predispositions or whatever people have, that you're all, and then you conflate everybody into one comment, even somebody that's not even on the podcast. I'm not I'm like, I want Bryce Young to be the quarterback next year. I don't want to say that, though, falsely at the end of the season. I want to say it with honesty. I don't want to be going back into that moment. So and that was like, we were coming off of the Matt Rule train where I learned the real story of don't ever say it can't get worse, because the Frank Reich season got fucking worse. And I tell you, if it wasn't for those last 8 games, which still did not answer and settle anything, it quelled us a little.
Yeah.
If you would have come out here and this would have spiraled out of control, this would have been like, I mean, I don't know how many, like, am I going to have a heart attack on the show? Am I going to fall into a depression, you know, have a breakdown? And I mean, what I will say is this, is that to answer Nick directly about this, is that the Panthers are growing in a way that is acceptable. Number one, exciting in other capacities. I still want that fucking Arizona game back so much. This is there's one moment in this fucking
the one that
season,
got away.
Yeah, is that this all of a sudden, like, we're jumping up and down. We're spending $150,000. We're doing all of that. If that happens, the Green Bay game, I know for Green Bay fans or whatever the internet is, and they can talk shit about us, was so important, because I still would have had a lot of faith, or not faith, but I still could have found a lot to believe in, whether it's Bryce, whether it's Canales, whether it's Evero. If we would have lost that game, the Bills, then that. But this is a good moment. So I'm optimistic. I want to see the Panthers grow. I want to stick with Dave Canales, and I hope. And right now, I want to stick with Bryce. I do want to stick with him. I don't feel like I don't have to engage in this, like, oh, these haters, they're coping. I don't need to be with this. I want, at the end of the season, to say this. I'm happy going into next year with Canales and Bryce and seeing this team get better.
Yeah, I want to say this real quick. At the start of the season, I felt like this team wasn't going to sniff the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now I feel like anyone who comes up to you and says that this team is destined to miss the playoff, dude, tell them to fuck themselves, bro. We have the run game. We have the defense. They have to continue to show up and not put on these bum performances like they did against the Patriots and like they did
against Buffalo.
Against Buffalo. But if we're able to maintain consistency, continue to pound the rock with Rico Dowdle, who is on an incredible run from a Panthers running back perspective, if the defense can continue to play tough and, all of our guys can stay healthy, knock on wood, and Derek Brown can continue to anchor that defense, there is no reason why this Panthers team can't at least be a wild card contender. And I'm going to be real. Well, we're only one game out from Tampa Bay, and we still played them twice this year. And by the way, they're beatable too. The Detroit Lions ran all over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, we're not destined to do that again, but we have to also win the games that we're supposed to win. We're supposed to come back home and lay an ass whooping on the New Orleans Saints as they're trading some of their best players away. Now it's our opportunity to continue to win the games we're supposed to.
Yeah, and keep in mind, while we also have a few of these games we have to be concerned about, the Buccaneers, their next game is against the Patriots, which should be a test for them. The next game after that is against the Bills, which again is really going to give us an idea of what we can expect from this team, from whether the Bucs are, how much they measure up when it compares to us. And then they have the Rams. And so for their next 3 games, there is a real chance that those are not easy games. Like that's a potential for them being 1-2 out of the next 3 games, or maybe even 0-3. Now, I'm not counting them out and beating all 3 of them because the Bucs have been able to be explosive when they needed to be. But then they go on to play the Cardinals, the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Dolphins, and the Panthers again. Their final stretch might be the easiest stretch of any other team in the NFL.
Who's this we're talking about? Sorry, I was
answering. The Bucs.
Oh,
yeah.
All
right. So
we have to be their problem.
We have to be their problem. Like we have to be. Otherwise, we have to not only win the games we're supposed to win, we've got to win 1 or 2 that we're not supposed to. Yeah. Meaning we have the Saints. We have we have to beat the Saints and we have to beat the Falcons. We have to beat the Saints 2 times. And with them selling the farm seemingly, there is a little bit easier path to seeing that being possible. But the Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers, we have 3 really tough opponents that we have to probably clear one of them while also winning the games we should win. And then those head-to-head matchups with the Bucs are that much more important. But yeah, we'll see what their next 3 games hold.
I was just getting dealing with all these messages coming in. Panthers are hot. We're getting texts. We're getting this. I'm getting hit up by peeps. I was talking about class today about like how little we actually know about the world.
Yeah.
Right. And like we only make decisions based on a couple of different things. And here's my shout out to G Baby. Right. And I talk about this is the only thing I know about Utah is that there are a lot of Mormons and one black person named G Baby. Thanks, Trish. No, is G-Baby's going to be on fire. He's been messaging me all day about trying to get Bryce Young extended. But, like, hey, that Tampa Bay thing right there we're talking about is
let's pick
I
up
don't know how close. Yeah, we're taking some more calls. We're not going to get too deep in it, but, like, let's not get too lost. You know what I will say is this, is I'm not putting my my satisfaction on this team based on if we can win the division. But it will be great if we do compete. Let's go back. Nick has a little follow-up.
2 things I forgot about. 1, I'm really glad that beach ball flew out on the field, because I don't know about you guys. Watching on TV, you can't really see the wind. You know what I mean? The moment that, I forget who it was on the offensive line, threw the ball up, the ball just shot backwards, the beach ball. So, like, I'm glad that we saw that.
That was
it
icky.
really kind of put it in perspective how crazy the wind was that day. And shout out to fucking Dave Canales on that one. Like, when I heard, oh yeah, Panthers won the coin flip and we elected to get the ball first, I was like, the fuck is going on? Like, it kind of makes sense. Let's get up on him and stay up on him. But then when it was like, oh yeah, we'll take the ball first, but we let them choose that shit. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not awake yet. My bad, guys. But the fact that Dave Canales kind of made it so that way we got to choose what direction we were going in, that shit came in clutch right at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So shout out to Dave Canales. It's the first time I've really seen you do something that was almost like an advanced IQ kind of play. And I give you a lot of credit for it. Maybe I'm missing shit. Maybe I haven't. Granted, I didn't really watch very much last season, but like that was a nice touch, and it was a pleasant change that I wasn't expecting. And then after the announcers called it out, that sort of shit, like, IQ move, especially because we won the game with a field goal. So you know what? Fuck yeah, Dave. Fuck yeah. Keep pounding, everybody.
Thanks, Nick. I'm coming back to that decision about if the Panthers should take the ball every time. I have a firm position they should, and it was even better that it worked out strategically. We'll circle back to that in internet arguments. Let's take another call.
Yo, this is Bart Shimmy. What's up, guys? I just wanted to call in on Monday after the win. I think I was actually very shocked, like I think most fans were, especially after the Bills game the week before. I was at that Bills game, and I don't think I've ever seen so many away fans in one stadium in my entire life. It was literally probably like 80% Bills fans in that entire stadium, and it was packed. So good to see them turn around and get a win against the Packers. But I wanted to give a shout out just briefly to the coaching. I know how hard everyone has been on Evero. Man, he stacked some really good defensive games this season so far through 9 games. Like really, really good stuff. Like Packers have a great offense historically. I mean, this season, Dallas too, like really great offense. We've played like some really, really good offenses and had some good performances against them. I know the Bills was bad, but I wanted to shout him out. I think that he's figured out a little something. Like I think in the trenches, D-line is showing up great week in, week out. And then our DBs and safeties are playing pretty average. If our linebackers can just figure it out and play consistent, then I think they're going to be scary. But I also want to give a shout out to Canales too. That dude, we're finding ways to win in the most non-typical ways imaginable. I don't really know how to explain it, but like that guy, I got to give him props because he's like finding ways to win with a QB that's throwing the ball for like 100 yards a game. That like never happens. And I know we're just running the ball and pounding the ball a lot of the times, but still it's very impressive to me that he is able to just find ways to win games with us and call plays with, and I'm not saying Bryce is like terrible, but like it's hard to win when you can't really stretch the ball downfield that well. Like, and we just can't really do that. So I think it's very impressive that he's able to find ways for us to win and still have successful play calling with a beat up offensive line, beat up running back. Like Rico was kind of hurt that game. He just toughed it out. and like battle through adversity, man. Keep pounding. That was a huge
Imagine
win.
toughing
Shout out
it
to
out
coaching.
and
I think
having.
they've been doing a great job this season.
Imagine
guys, I'll see you.
toughing it
Peace.
out and having 2 touchdowns and 125 yards or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, there was it when those nicked up injuries or whatever. I don't even call it nicked up. I don't know. I mean, like he looked hurt at a moment.
Yeah.
We couldn't tell. It looked like a groin. You couldn't tell if it was a shoulder. He went down hard. And it was like, man, I'm in pain. And then he was like, nope, I'm not in pain. I'm not coming off this field.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid. He's not in pain. He's not in pain. He's getting paid.
Yeah.
I want to circle back real quick because the caller mentioned the Canalysis. Yeah, Canalysis is you would put apostrophe S technically.
Just one Canalysis.
But if we were writing it and it was grammatically correct, it would end with an S and have apostrophe S, and everybody would say it's wrong. But it actually would be right unless his name was Jesus. Then you don't do it. That's real grammar stuff. Sorry. Here is the big thing, and this goes to Greg Olson. I mean, who's on the call. He's fantastic, right? Talking about the importance or how strategically important this became. And look, is it felt bad in the beginning, not in the third quarter, right? Is that because the wind's going against you, you missed that extra point. And he's talking about it being but hey, this could benefit you in the fourth quarter when you turn. He's celebrating this. Greg Olson then continued after the game. He said it's and continuing on his position that he made during the show. It's absolutely a legit strategy. And this is in response. All right, so it's in response to put this in context. Peter Bukowski, I thought Greg Olson way overplayed the take the ball so you can pick your end zone, but turns out that was legitimately a real strategy. No way Rich Bisaccio ever makes that suggestion. Greg Olson kindly says it's absolutely a legit strategy. We explained it early in the first quarter, played out exactly, and we revisited it again on the final drive because it's important to bring the game all the way back from the first decision, which was to take the ball. So I thought it was great commentary. I'm not undermining the strategy, like of if you're thinking about the wind.
Right.
But here is what I think is, to me, and this is just my opinion. I mean, nobody's not like Greg Olson's going to care. I mean, I would love for him. I hope he would acknowledge this, but I mean, not like he needs to. But this is my thing is I think the Panthers, so I tweeted in response that the Panthers need to take the ball every time. Like, give us the ball because this team ultimately is not built to play from behind. Right, is that the defense is playing well. Bryce Young has been, and look, you're celebrating and I'm not dismissing it, right? But like people are like, look, another fourth quarter winning drive by Bryce. And he had 2 important throws. I think they've overblown this fake run setup. I mean, like the fake pass blocking setup. I don't know if it was that faked or if he was actually saying, look, this is where you got to watch out for the hole. Either way.
Rico basically told that as that it was a Bryce playing faking it out.
Okay.
Like,
all right. So
Dave Canales said Rico said too much.
Oh, interesting. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he did say that.
But either way is that Bryce Young did what was necessary.
Yeah.
Right. But Rico ripped a big run and they played it kind of safe at the end and were ready to try for a long field goal. You know, I mean, there was a chance they could have thrown the ball one more time. I'm not taking away from Bryce here, but here's my point. The Panthers need to take the ball every time they can. You win the coin flip. Give the ball because the ultimate the idea is to get ahead. Or at least always play in striking distance. I said, not built to play from behind. Both offense and defense need to play on manageable to favorable down and distance to succeed. I understand when I say that every team wants to play ahead of the sticks. But what, and I'm adding a couple of words here because it's Twitter, but really what we want to see is this team grow. We want to see the defense grow. We want to see Bryce grow as a player. And the best case scenario for Bryce Young to grow into the player that we want and hope that he can be, and for this defense to flourish, who was coming off a historically bad season, is paramount.
Yeah.
To not be in bad situations, to be playing from behind. And I said this, they need to play from ahead. And I know that's too ideal. Everybody wants to be in the most ideal situation. I get that. But we also need to be in striking distance. So take the ball every time.
Hold on, Tony. This is I have a problem with this slightly. I want you to know every one of our losses, we had the ball first. Every one of them. 4 out of our 5 wins, we deferred.
Hold on. Let me ask. All right. Okay. Cool stat. But also in those losses on that first drive, was there a turnover?
Punt on the one against the Bills.
Right.
And then I can
go back. But then go back to Arizona. No, we got that Arizona game. There was 2 turnovers early on. Right, you go back to the Jacksonville game, 2 turnovers. So, like, I can't tell you, like, yes, that's a statistic that's real, right? But you also, I also want your offense to at least do something. I don't want them to be negative. If you turn the ball, if you take the ball and turn it over, I can't help that. And I'm not saying this is gospel. This is just, I think this team is built to run the ball, to be in 3rd and manageable, right? Is to be 3rd and 3, not 3rd and 7. I think this team is cool to be behind, but not be behind by 10, but be behind by 7 or 3, or be ahead by 3. And I think that helps this defense. CJ at Clay J1V said this, and again, like a stat similar to yours. CK, as he said, I get what you mean. And I want to have a nice discourse too. So I like this type of discourse. I get what you mean. I.e., they're a running team and not strong passing. I don't think they're not strong passing. I just don't think they're designed to make up 14, 21 points, Well,
but Tony, that's the same thing to me. If you're not able to make up that deficit, it means that passing the ball isn't one of your strengths.
Well,
and it's not even
explosiveness.
It's also not even an insult to say it anymore. That right now the strength of this Carolina Panthers team is running the football, and that we are not a very good vertical passing team. And people feel like I'm taking a shot at Bryce in doing that, but I feel like that's also just the reality of the team that we're seeing, and I feel like that's also the point.
It helps Bryce become the player he could be.
But I feel like that's the point that you're making, Tony, is that if we're down by 7, we can see a path forward.
Yes.
However, if the Patriots or the Bills go up on us by 2 or 3 touchdowns, we just don't have the vertical firepower,
the time
to be able to win shootouts like that.
Yeah.
And also in the chat, Ken Grook 45 says it helps the defense. I think this is important too, is our defense is pretty darn good, right? I'm happy about the defense, but they're not so dominant that, like, if a team can start to run the ball against you or pass at will and do different things, they also benefit from being in games.
Yeah. To answer your question about, so out of the 4 games that we've lost that we have, I was mistaken. We had deferred against the first 2 losses, the Cardinals and the Jaguars, and we lost those games. So those were deferred. All out of the one win that was, or the other 2 losses, the Patriots was our opening drive where we received the kick was a touchdown, and that turned out to be just slaughter.
Yeah. I mean, there is.
And then the Bills was the opening drive for us was Andy Dalton just getting, strip sack from behind and, giving the ball to the Bills And
Cody,
and
put
an
up
unfortunate stuff.
real quick one more time because I
Yeah.
want to just follow up on this. Because we can find those stats, CK, right? That always do this. And again, I'm not being as like what I think is not gospel, right? I mean, and this was a cool CJ Clay J1V says, I get what you mean. What we got but pretty much all of Bryce wins have come from playing from behind or tied. Right.
Right.
Oh, I mean, neat stat. And I'm not, and I wrote this, and I was truly not trying to be snarky, but I'm also guessing that the vast majority of losses also came in games where we were playing from behind. So I don't think that's even a fair thing to say. It's like, I think you can congratulate that he's had the ability to have some comeback moments. But if we went and tracked all the times that they were coming back and they trying to come back and they lost, I'm pretty sure those numbers would reflect some different things there as well. I think this Panthers team, and I don't know, I just think this team needs to play and be in striking distance. I told you going into the season that this team, I want them to be good, but they're going to scratch and claw for every win.
Yeah, I agree. But here's what you need to have happen. You need to have what happened to the Falcons and continue to happen to the teams that you're playing that are considered not as good as you, even though many people are somehow still putting the Falcons ahead of us in their power rankings, which is,
this is
ridiculous. Silly. But I believe just because I've seen what's happened on the majority of our losses has been that we can somehow score a touchdown or get a field goal with a very small amount of time left at the end of the half. It's almost inevitable that our defense will give up some sort of a giant play to allow them to score before the half, and then they get the ball back at the beginning of the second half, and they end up scoring again, and then that's when our things start to get out of hand. I would rather us start the second half and have ourselves moving, because I mean we are a second half team in in a lot of these games that we've played, and so if we can start the second half with having the ball, I think that what you're talking about is, I think there's a reason that most people defer to the second half, because I think there's probably, if you had to go historically and look at statistically speaking where value, like what happens, I think that final 2 minutes of the first half and that opening drive of the second half are
important.
What determine the game.
But you do have to be good enough to play. And I think also your opponent matters.
Yeah.
So I think talking about the Bills, the Green Bay Packers, I am willing to also say this is not a law. It's not a physical law. Is that, to be honest, we have the Saints at home. We win the coin toss. I'm deferring because their offense, by the way, has done absolutely nothing. So in that case, but I think if you're going up against an opponent that you're already playing from behind, you don't want to get behind. But maybe I'm wrong. Let's go back to the calls. Actually, it's Gray. It's Gray. Comment. Get in the comments. Tell me I'm wrong. Let's go back to the calls.
Hey, fellas. Thinking about the game that happened. It kind of reminds me of like buy a cake at the store. It's your favorite cake. Walking out after you buy it, and it kind of slips out of your hands and it lands on the ground, and it's all messed up inside the container. But you open up the container, grab a bite. It still tastes sweet. It still tastes good. It still tastes like a nice cake, even though it looks like crap. Kind of how that game was. Dirty, fought game. Also, another thing, I was listening to it while I was working, and that last drive, I had confidence that Bryce would actually make it, that he can make a game-winning drive. I had confidence in him. So to me, Bryce, I feel like he's settling down into a above-average quarterback that can be clutch. That he has that clutch team. Yeah, that's it. You guys have a good day. Keep pounding.
Thanks for the call. Could be Bryce's coming out party against abysmal Saints team back to the Colts.
Yo, what's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte.
What's up, Ant?
Hope y'all boys are having a great Tuesday. What a win last week, man. Last Sunday. Oh my gosh. I'm still in disbelief. Really proud of this team. They shut me up. And it's awesome to see that, man. It's great to see that things are finally looking like they're going in the right direction. Last call, I didn't really talk about anything. I just kind of was saying, holy shit, we won over and over because I was in such disbelief. But I kind of wanted to get into some things now. First off, you have the Saints at home this week, a tanking team. I watched them versus the Rams. Didn't seem to play with a lot of energy. Rookie quarterback in there now, Tyler Shuck. He's going to be, going on the road back-to-back for his second game. So, and then you got at Atlanta, which we blew out Atlanta earlier. Atlanta looks like a mess right now. Horrible coaching staff. So you have a real shot at being 7-4 here.
Yeah.
And
crazy, huh?
The tough part of the schedule coming up could be 7-4 heading to Monday. Oh man. At San Francisco, but I really, wanted to just talk about a couple things right now because I've seen there's a lot of discourse online and from some people in our community and Cody and a couple other people I saw. This is my thoughts on the whole Bryce Young thing. From the beginning of this season, I basically said I want to see what this team can do with the offense we ran, when Bryce Young came back last year, which was a run-first offense and get the play action going. But I think it's clear that Bryce Young was playing with a sort of confidence last year when he came back from the bench and basically with nothing to lose. We were, out of the playoff contention, 1-7 at that point. But it feels like this year, except for the last drive of the game, which, he's been really clutch in his career given when we're in a position to win, he just doesn't impress me that much. And I think really the honest truth is at this point is he's probably the best option to be the bridge to the next guy going forward. He can certainly game manage the offense, but I don't think he's going to turn out to be anything special. It's not a bad thing, but I think it just is what it is at this point. It is what it is at this point. So give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But as for the team, let's go to 6-4 this.
Let's go 6-4. Shout out Anthony. I want to go on this one real quick, Tony. So listen, I'm sort of known as either fairly or unfairly as the Bryce Young hater, quote unquote. But what I'll say is this: we need the entirety of this season to evaluate Bryce Young. We need to see every game. We need to see how he finishes down the stretch to actually see what we have in Bryce. We've always said that this third year was incredibly important to our evaluation of him. But this is also why I push back on someone like G Baby, for example, who feels like they've seen enough to pay Bryce Young literally the biggest contract in NFL history, which is what all new quarterbacks sign for when they do sign. And I just haven't seen that yet. And by the way, I think that if you look at two similarly short quarterbacks, Tua Tagovailoa and Kyler Murray, both of those fan bases are pretty down on their quarterbacks right now. In fact, it appears as though Kyler Murray has been benched in favor of Jacoby Brissett for the Cardinals going forward. And these are both quarterbacks that got paid a lot of money and are now looking for ways to get out of those contracts and to move on from those quarterbacks. I think that two things can be true. We can be impressed with what Bryce has been able to do right now, giving us chances at the end of games to be competitive and drive us down the field when we need him the most. But we also need to pump the brakes when we say that we have seen what we need from Bryce to determine that he is a franchise quarterback that can undeniably lead the Carolina Panthers for the foreseeable future. Because I do not feel like we have seen that from Bryce yet. Maybe we do at the end of this season, and maybe he turns it on and shows us something special. But right now, there is just not enough of a high quality body of work for us to be able to throw all of our lot in behind Bryce at this time. And I think that's being fair.
Yeah, I don't think that you're wrong for having that opinion. I think that, to your point, we need to see this entire season play out. The problem is, it's clear that our offense is predicated on the run, and it's meant to be an offense that does not require Bryce Young to be an elite quarterback. Hence, he only threw the ball 20 times, right? And so when you have
he had a
that
good
type
game, and it was 100 yards.
It was 100 yards. And so, but that's happened a lot because our offenses with him under center, we've tried to make it about running the ball. And in those games, and a lot of those games where he's been asked to throw the ball for 30, 40 times, I mean, he hasn't been horrible in those games. I mean, that Arizona game started out in a difficult way, but we didn't get the win because it's not our style or brand of football. And also our defense wasn't able to stop the run in a lot of those situations either. I think that the issue you run into is the idea of paying a quarterback like Bryce Young. It's problematic because our offense isn't quarterback reliant, right? I think where Bryce Young is going to be most valuable to this offense is like that play that we talked about where he is, throwing out the idea of, hey, let's fake this protection so they think it's a pass play. Instead, you're going to run up the middle for 19 yards, right? Those types of situations, the big brain plays, I think, is where you're going to get value from him. But I don't know that that's something that would be unique only to Bryce Young. And the idea of paying him a big contract is a tough prospect because we aren't seeing gaudy numbers that make us believe that if it has to be a shootout, that we can trust Bryce Young. We haven't seen him perform at a high level against a high-ranked defense, except for maybe a few times. And in those times, they were all losses. So I want to see it more consistently before we start making those determinations. Even being somebody who I think I think Bryce Young can do it. I just don't think we rely on him enough to be able to warrant that type of contract right now.
The key to these contracts or in winning in the long run, this is not only to Bryce Young, is to not be early or late to the party.
Yeah.
But to be right on time. And so that's what we just have to do with Bryce, is not be late to the party, not be early to the party, be right on time. Let's go.
Do you think real quick before we do anything, do you think them signing potentially Ikem Ekwonu, Rico Dowdle to big giant contracts, do you think they're more comfortable with that idea because they are confident, they feel like they could move on from Bryce and not have to worry about paying a big contract?
No, I think that, or at least I don't think that's in their mind yet. I think that, again, just like we are, that this the management is hopeful, but not. I think the right move, and I don't know. And look, and I'm with Cody on this. It's like we need to really see. Right now, we're making determinations on a sample set that is incomplete.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be premature either. Like, because if Bryce, I mean, this is an opportunity. The Saints going out there, catching momentum, him becoming a star. Look,
and by the way, the Saints have a decent run defense too. So they might be ripe for us to pass the ball on them. This might be a great opportunity for Bryce.
This is the kind of game where you might have to pass to open the run up.
And like you can builds momentum. We saw the momentum that was built with the belief in Bryce in those last 8 games last year. If you can build that in the last half of this season. So I'm not gonna say this, is that I'm gonna say that I don't know. Like, at the end of the season, I'll check in and I'll tell you if it's about, like, maybe I'm ready to just extend Bryce now. And just play it out and see where it's going. My intuition right now, just what I think is the appropriate move, is to if he continues to progress, but you're still a little in this mode of, man, you're doing good, you're growing, but I think the 5th-year option will be the best way for the Carolina Panthers. I don't want to prematurely. I don't want the Panthers to prematurely get back into the quarterback market.
Right. I think that right now that's what we're pushing towards, to see if Bryce is going to be worthy of that 5th-year option, which, by the way, I do think they're going to do. When you look at the money that we're going to be able to spend this offseason, when you look at the amount of draft picks that we have, this is an opportunity for us to really have another year to really get everything that we can out of this offense with Bryce under center. So, yeah, I think that we're looking at that 5th-year option far before we're talking about extending him.
Don't be early, don't be late to the party. Be right on time.
Sure. The problem that I have is that right now this offensive line was playing pretty decent, right?
Sure.
And we have Teteroa McMillan, we have Xavier Legette, we have Jalen Coker, we have a Rico Dowdle now making sure the pressure is taken off of Bryce. And I just have an issue with picking up a 5th-year option and saying that we're going to give him another year, because at the beginning of this year, it was pretty clear that this was going to be the litmus test about whether we were going to do the 5th-year option. And so far, we haven't seen, he hasn't been as much of a liability for this team that he had been in the years past, while there have been some red flags, but for the most part, he's been pretty middle of the pack. But the idea of picking up the 5th-year option right now in the midst of a year where he should be having a breakout year, 3rd year, you have these offensive weapons, whether they're rookies or not, or even 2nd-year players or what have you. This offense is prime for the taking, right? This should be a quarterback's wet dream with what they have at the Carolina Panthers in my mind. And it just doesn't seem to be clicking. Now, I think that a lot of that was game plan this past week because Bryce was clearly still hurt.
It's not over yet either.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bryce was still hurt, playing with a little bit of an angle. And I think that injury was still lingering. And that was clear by how quickly they were making sure he got the ball out. And that was something that Dave Canales even echoed in his presser. So I think a lot of those reads we're talking about, like that interception, I don't think there was ever even an opportunity for Jalen Coker to be the option on that. I think it was 100% going to Xavier Legette in the corner. Never was I. I don't think it was ever I think this entire game plan was one hitch, throw the ball. Because his time to throw the ball was ridiculously low compared to what he normally does.
They celebrated it as a way of negating the pass rush. Let's go to the hope dealer. We need more hope. Ideally, at the end of the season, what we want is to be banging on the table to extend Icky, to go ahead at the minimum 5th year. I've imagine being able to walk into next season saying we want to extend Bryce and pay him. We want to bring Icky. And we hope we can keep Rico. That means this season was incredible. Let's go.
CK, Tony Dunn, Cody Lack, the C3 Legion. What up, y'all? Hope Dilla checking in.
Dilla, what's up, bro?
This going to be a 2-caller because I got a lot I need to get off my chest. I got a lot I got to say today. So first and foremost, man, a little bit of housekeeping. I didn't get a chance to do this last week, but Cody Lack, my man. Listen, man, you my dude, and I took it to heart what you've been going through, man. The force is set up against you. You know what I'm saying? And man, I've been part of this community now, for a good little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I know I call in from time to time. I love the Legion. But I'm going to tell you something, man. Your authenticity, your heart, man, you my dude. I'm a black guy. You know what I'm saying? And I can say, man, that you ain't got a racist bone in your body. We all got differing opinions and different viewpoints on things. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay, man. That's part of being in America. And, week in and week out, I hear calls from everybody from D Money to G Cavassier, to C Dog, to G Baby, to John B, to Joey the Blind Panther, to Lou from Fort Myers, to Panther Pickle, to Christian Butler, the whole Legion. And we all different, man, and that's what makes us who we are as a community. And I don't appreciate nobody coming at my man Cody lack like that,
My
man.
God,
You know what I'm
appreciate you,
saying? I
brother.
don't appreciate that, man. So Cody, man, you my dude, man, from the heart. I'm gonna call back with a second call for Panther stuff, but love you, man. Hope Dilla.
Love you, Hope Dealer. You're my friend, bro. That's my brother right there. Appreciate you, man.
We got Hope Dealer coming back, and I'm just gonna try to make light and fun of things that are serious. But do you remember there's a couple of comments that came at Cody, and they were like, if he had a black friend, well, guess what? There's proof. Right there.
By the way,
that's what one of the comments were. It was like, he don't even have one.
Like the majority of my friends for most of my life have been black people. So it just shows that it's just people who don't even know me, man.
Write it down. We have proof that G Baby is black. We've established it on this podcast. And
not to go back to this, but I think it's important. It's a funny point. I had, obviously I was going through that day just a Twitter like reply storm on people, just trying to get people to give me why they believe what they believe. And I had one guy just consistently, his entire thing was, you don't have any black friends, so you won't understand. And I'm like, number one, I'm not going to respond to that the way that he wants me to respond to it.
Then it makes you look like a dummy.
Yeah.
Because the moment I say I do have black friends,
yes,
I'm like,
that's what they. Yeah, it's like.
Hey, that's why I said let's make light of it.
Yeah, I didn't even respond. I was like, these guys are absolutely ignorant. It's just so funny. But I'm so happy that we have the family we do. And Cody is 100% the most. He's what he would call an equal opportunity asshole. Right. It doesn't matter who it is. If he didn't like Ron Rivera towards the end. He died on the hill of getting rid of Ron Rivera.
That's his fault. He dies on a hill.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's just because he has the approach that he does and he doesn't like the people that you like. Or let me rephrase. He has that opinion that is different than yours about somebody that you find to be the savior of the franchise. It's somehow ammunition for you to call him something that is so overwhelmingly disrespectful.
The last thing I'm saying, I know you want to move on real quick, Tony, so I'll be fast. But I've said this before, that the people who follow this podcast, they know us. They've been around, like VR, the Hope Dealer, who was able to mention everybody in the community and talk about the love that we all share for one another. Whereas there's a bunch of people on Twitter who only see things that I post on Twitter and who just run with this narrative that they just make up in their head about me being this way or that way. That's none of it is based in truth.
I know one guy sent me a message that said, Cody, if you would have done this. And I said, my name is Tony.
He replied to you, or did
he was just responding to me on Twitter, and he was like, Cody, if you didn't, and I said, hey, my name is Tony, nice to meet you. That's all I said. And just for fun on Cody is if you think about what a Greek tragedy is, right? Like this epic, a great story. Like there's the Greek comedies, they're like these wonderful the ways of writing, they're like a writing tools. Is a Greek tragedy, the hero, their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness. So Cody's greatest strength is dying on this hill. You're great. You are like Achilles. You're like on the pathway of being immortalized in mythology. Let's go back to the Hope Dealer.
Let's hope I don't get shot in the heel.
Oh God!
Hey, hold on a second call.
Well, don't worry, you still wouldn't be able to walk.
Letting me get that off my chest from my man Cody.
Appreciate you, brother.
Let's get into some Panther football, man.
Let's do
it's Tuesday. I'm still on cloud 9 from the win on Sunday. Y'all, I want to say that our offensive line coach should be commended. Think about that many offensive line combinations, and they're still performing at a high level. Did y'all know that as of today, we've had 7 offensive line combinations in 9 weeks, and yet they still performing?
Such a good storyline.
That's incredible, man. It just shows how important continuity is on the offensive line. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, but I was thinking about this last thing, and I would love to know y'all thoughts on this, man. Culture. Winning makes free agents want to come here to Carolina, right? Winning makes us not have to pay as high of a temper tax as we've had to pay in the past. Even if we finish at 8-9, versus a team that was 5-10 last year, I feel like that should give Dan and Brant Tillis more leverage potentially in future negotiations for bringing free agents here. It shows that we're a stable organization, man.
Yeah.
I like how we bounce back. I like that stability, the culture, man. I know Canales is a culture guy. So give me y'all thoughts on that as far as culture, man, and the impact that us winning these games can have on future free agents, making Carolina more attractive. It's the Hope Dilla. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, bro. I'll go real quick. I'll go first. This is a huge season. If the Panthers, let's say theoretically, we're able to sneak into the playoffs, I am so excited to see what it would do for our free agency prospects. Tony, you mentioned earlier that Dan Morgan set out to sort of patch a bunch of different holes on this roster this past offseason.
Intentionally.
Yes, and for the most part, he was pretty successful in doing so, minus a couple bad performances here and there. But I'm interested to see what happens if Carolina can be looked at as a destination, like a team that's ready to compete right now. What tier of players could be willing to want to come here and be what we're a part of? We see all these clips in the locker room after they win. That's a team that is building towards something. They have a bunch of camaraderie. They have great leadership on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball now with a lot of these veterans on the team. It does feel, to VR's point, like there is being a culture that is being implemented on this team that hasn't been around since the middle of 2015 and on. A real culture of winning and holding people accountable when poor performances are holding us down. We responded to the Patriots loss. We responded to the Buffalo loss. We responded to the early season losses. And for the most part, we've been able to fix all that ails us. I'm really excited to see what that's going to do for our prospects this year during free agency if we're able to make a genuine push.
Yeah.
We'll let you handle that. I want to, since we're having fun a little, there's this story. Another thing that's come about is what's the guy, Tucker, the tight end that got hurt for the Green Bay Packers. This has gotten a lot, or at least some legs, at least in the Packer community. I'm not playing the video because Sean Ryan, and I guess this is, I think Dobbs had something to say about this. We'll talk about gotta get everybody right.
I have a take on this too.
But and I automatically went into me as in stop crying because you lost, because everybody's like, you lost to the Panthers. Like that was my immediate thing. That was my immediate reaction. But this is a quote. All I know is that motherfucker's helmet, referring to Nick Scorton, was into my knees. He went low. And this is from Cheesehead TV, big Packers blog TV.
They're bringing back that moment.
Yeah, and so I'm not gonna play it, but you can see here I'll blow it up here. I'm not gonna play it, but 11 Scorton is going in. I don't think that's Tucker. I still want to know what's going on because Tucker's running
right
across.
So I can give you the outline of what happened. Nick Scorton, very legally, it's something that a lot of defensive ends do, went low because, as you can see, that was a play action pass, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He thought that Jacobs was about to get the ball. He's trying to collapse that lane. So he's going low because he's not engaged with anybody else on a block, which makes that not a chop block. It is absolutely legal. And he hits the guy's legs into Tucker Kraft as he's running by, and Tucker Kraft tears his ACL because his teammates' legs hit him, not because Nick Scorton went low on Tucker Kraft. Here is the problem that is absolutely hysterical. There is a play identical to this that Tucker Kraft went low on one of our defenders in a exact same way that Nick Scorton went low on one of their offensive linemen.
I feel like it's a common thing. I feel like I see it all the time.
And it's just it is
latched onto it. CK
they're
too.
emotional.
Like it's dirty. It's legal, but it's still dirty, and people don't like it.
I'm not willing to just say they're whining. I get it. They lost somebody who was important to their team, and it's hard not to look around to try to blame somebody else for that injury, right? And it's really easy when you have a guy like Nick Scorton, who's a rookie who went, who had a play like that, and you're going to pinpoint that moment.
But it wasn't even on the player that got hurt.
It wasn't, but it was a direct result of the action that Nick Scorton took that caused the injury. And
Butterfly effect.
Here is the issue, right? I'm not willing to just sit there and crucify, Packers fans because of this. I think that there is a real coping mechanism that's coming into play here, because I think we all would have a similar reaction. But it's just when you start to become have this tunnel vision, and you're unwilling to look at the situation from any realistic expectation. Like Tucker Kraft, go back and look. He had the exact same play in the exact same game and did the exact same thing to a player that was on the other team.
They're calling him a dirty player. They're going this, but to me, all right. So I tried not like.
What's funny though? Remember when this happened to Thomas Davis against the Packers and Aaron Rodgers and. Yeah, right. And Aaron Rodgers insinuated
it was the blindside block.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers insinuated that Thomas Davis was dirty. Yeah, it's funny that this happens to us against the Packers.
Well, this is to me where it got wild, and this tweet. I mean, I don't know if I'm a fan of Barstool or not. I mean, I'm a fan sometimes. And we'll talk about some other things in a minute. But this to me this is why, and maybe it's just taking advantage of a sound clip, but we're here for it. Said someone explained to Romeo Dobbs that Tucker Kraft's injury isn't life-threatening. And then listen to this clip here.
Wouldn't wish that, just on one of our captains or even just your worst enemy. I don't wish that on any man. And, Tucker is in a better place.
It's not like he's dead.
I couldn't. I said, oh my God. I'm sorry. Look, cheeseheads. I'm glad. You know what? Romeo's words, not mine. I'm glad he's in a better place. God, that was.
Glad he's in a better place.
I could. I was like, oh gosh, I felt bad for laughing. Let's go to the next call.
C3 Panther Nation. What up, y'all? It's your boy Preston from Hickory. Man, so we enjoyed that win on Sunday. That was amazing. I'm still enjoying it. But fortunately, and unfortunately, I like living in these wins. Hell, I done rewatched those highlights like 5,000 times already. I love it. But on to the next one. It's that time of the week, boys. We got the Saints. We got the Saints coming in to the bank.
Hey, Tony, check the private chat.
Look, I'm not even going to waste y'all's time, man. That's a dub. That's a win. This is a must win because it's a team we're supposed to beat. We're good enough to beat the Cowboys. We're good enough to beat the damn Dolphins. We're good enough to beat anybody else. We're good enough to beat the damn Saints. We just beat the Packers. We most definitely should put our damn foot on their neck and just crush it, grind it into dust, because that team is ass. It goes without saying. I'm feeling good, man. Rico, two-pump Rico,
man, I'm so happy. I'm so happy for that guy. And being a Carolina boy, too, I'm so happy for that guy. And I hope we lock him down for years to come. And then on the defensive side of the ball, we're looking good, man. We're looking real good on the defensive side of the ball. Again, kudos to Evero, if I'm even saying that right. Kudos to Evero, because, I mean, hey, he had them boys ready to play. We definitely packed our defense going up to Wisconsin. So, hey, I haven't had this feeling in a while, man. I have no worries. Like, as a Panthers fan, I have absolutely no worries or no anxieties about my team, especially this week, especially facing the Aints. So that's all I got this week, boys. Hey, you know what? Let's strut our stuff a little bit. We can be a little cocky and beat our chest and go, you know what? We're definitely better than this fucking team. And at home, forget about it. All right, boys. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, brother. We appreciate you, man.
All right, Cody.
Yeah.
Now you got to run.
Yeah, I got to jump out of here. Appreciate y'all. Promise this will not be a trend, me having to jump out early. But, yeah, I got to do a bunch of things.
We're locking arms, bro. We got everything.
Man.
We got it.
Yep. Love y'all, boys. My prediction.
Yeah, the Panthers to win.
Yeah,
right?
of course I'm picking the Panthers to win. I think that we can do something similar to what the Rams did. I think the Panthers are going to win by 3 touchdowns. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Cody. If you're hanging out with us, make sure to smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of the conversation. Hang on. We're going to take 2 more calls, and I've got to address the third viral story on the internet, and that is the Meow Mix story. And I'm sympathetic. I'm not being mean. Not going to be mean, but we got viral stories all over, from dirty players to shutting down Micah Parsons to Carolina Mike to the Meow Mix podcast and players responding. We'll take a couple more calls. We'll get that. Hang out if you want to hear that conversation.
Well, let me tell you something, gentlemen. I got a bone to pick with this team right here. And you know, I've been a fan since he was just a little kid. I've been watching every game, but David Tabor has done fucked this team up since he's been here. That guy is nothing more than a self-centered, just dumbest football IQ guy that I've ever. He's rich too, but he don't know how to spend that money.
A troll?
No,
not a troll, but like a
He
parody.
can't do anything like Bryce Young throws for 20 times, only completes 11 of them for 102 yards and had a pick. Rico Dowdle had a day. That's the one good thing we had going. Chuba Hubbard only got 17 yards rushing, 3.4 average. Ted McMillan, 4 catches. Extra lotion. Xavier Leggett got 1 catch. Jada Coker, 1 catch, 9 yards. Bryson Tremaine, 1 catch, 8 yards. Jatavius Sanders, 1 catch, 5 yards. Jimmy Horn Jr. got 1 yard off of 1 catch. David Tepper has done this team in. So I'm on the door. I'm on the phone door. We need to trade everyone. It's the trade deadline today. And we need to go trade, just sell everything, man. We need to start building for the future. Just rebuild everything. It's just done in. The coach, he's like a Pop Warner coach. What's he doing out there? Go over. I'm on the phone. I'm just saying, gentlemen, Bryce ain't it, man. What? We won.
All right, thanks.
What do you mean we won? We beat the Packers. Okay.
Well,
Okay,
actually,
maybe-
that was kind of funny.
Maybe I need to watch more of the game. Maybe I need to pay more attention. Because, you know what? I love this team.
There we go.
I love King Bryce. He ain't doing nothing but right things. The coach is the best coach. We got ourselves a coach, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, this call
I
really.
love this team. Go Panthers. Keep pounding.
This call actually got really good at the end.
We're going to have to do it against the same. You know, we can make the playoffs, gentlemen. Have a good damn day.
Really, wait a sec. That call really trended.
It was
It trended in the right direction, CK. Come on.
That was basically the personification of being a Panthers fan this season. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's how smart it was. There's
it was
very.
That's what I mean. I would love. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that was the intention.
Yeah,
it was meant to be the arc of the Panthers fan going from one game to the next game. Like, it's so bad. Oh, it's so good. It's so bad. Oh, it's so good. Oh man, it was good. It was
Talk
good.
about being able to change your mind, man, right away. That happened.
Yeah, just
right
one
there.
little thing. One little thing. I think it's putting into perspective how one change to the you see Bryce's number. Like, if that was an L, your first reaction is we just lost because of Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Right. And here we are. We got a W, and then now all of a sudden it's just like, look at all the positive things Bryce did, and look at all this. So
actually, you know what? There's real artistic value to that call. Call it a night right
absolutely.
there. Let's go to the next call. Meow Mix up next.
Hey boys, have a wonderful Tuesday evening. Tater out here in Idaho. Can't wait to get back to North Carolina here in the next year, and hopefully meet up with some of you guys. I had a quick question. Just going back and forth, week to week. I feel like we're going as a fan base. We're hyperactive, we're reactive, whatever.
Oh, great follow-up call.
We hate Evero. We love Evero. We hate
my
Evero.
gosh.
We love Evero.
This is perfect.
This might be a clip on YouTube after this.
Are we gonna bring him back? We're gonna sign another contract with him.
CK, you got to take this one.
I'm not, unless we make a deep run in the playoffs, which I don't see. I don't think he's going to get a head coaching position. So just want to know what you guys are thinking about our defensive coordinator and his up and down performances throughout the year. Big win last week. Excited to watch the Panthers play. Even more excited to be part of the C3 family. Fucking love you guys. Keep pounding, boys.
CK, this call was meant for you.
Yeah, I think the Evero conversation is still similar to the Bryce Young conversation. There's a question mark still that needs to be addressed. And while I think he's earned an opportunity to still prove himself the way the season has gone, there have been quite a few games that have brought back the exact same questions we've had with his entire tenure here. Anytime you're allowing number one, we gave up a franchise record number of yards to James Cook against the Buffalo Bills. We also gave up over 200 yards rushing to Etienne against the Jaguars. Right, there are some red flags throughout the season where in the idea of how frustrating it is to continuously see this off coverage just be torn apart in the game, in the slant game or in the pass game, if you will. But at the end of the day, the positives I think outweigh the negatives, and I think there's a big part of this that is heavily reliant on Evero. We have to assume that Evero wants to come back. And this dude has not been treated well amongst the Panthers fan base.
Well, you know what? You better have a thick skin.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. But at the same time, he's been under David Tepper. If he's wanted to leave and David Tepper has refused, to release him from his contract, then, there's a potential, underlying piece to this that has to be a mutual willingness to bring him back. And is he going to come back for a cheaper deal than what he came here on? Probably not. And so now we have to discuss whether or not Tepper wants to pay him what probably the best defensive coordinator in the league is getting paid.
Well, he was paid that. He had at the time paid that.
Yeah. And are we going to be willing to do that again? And if not, do we think that what we saw this year was putting our defensive players in the best possible position to show their strengths and to develop into the best possible version of themselves? I think there's some evidence that it's moving in the right direction, but I still think not letting
13th in the league in defense, CK.
Is that updated to this week? You said.
Yeah, and that's in just yards per game.
Yeah,
I mean,
that,
they have a winning record.
Yeah.
I think he's doing the things that would bring you back.
I had said that unless we're a top 10 unit, I'm not sure I'd want to bring back Evero.
I don't think right now that there's a reason. I think that right now, we're trending in a direction to bring a lot of people back. You talked about Icky. You talked about Bryce, and I think Evero. At this point, this defense is cooking, man. And so I don't know. Like I do think that's an important point or a very sophisticated point you brought is like what is the background politics of was he blocking things? Was he I don't know if he's going to be fielded for head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
I will tell you this is that if any coach gets an opportunity to become a head coach, even in the worst case scenario, go do it. Take the money, get it on your resume, come back and be a defensive coordinator. Right now, I don't think that reason there's anything trending against him being the defensive coordinator going forward. I think he's a celebratory moment now. And I understand. I don't think that made your position in week 2 or 3 invalid, CK.
Well, no, I mean, my position in the offseason and the preseason was that
and you were
I didn't want him back anyway. I felt like you needed to remove on from him and let these guys develop under a coach. And the issues and the same way I'm giving grace to Dave Canales and he's still learning how to be a head coach. I'm giving some of those same points of grace to Evero. Right,
they're both earning a lot of them too.
They're learning, right? And he's earning, yeah. But learning is an example, right? Dave Canales was, basically telling him we need to play the young guys, and here we are. Nick Scorton, Princely, all of these guys are actually contributing at a high level. Ransom, all of these guys, right? And that's a learning thing that I think that these guys are no longer just playing the guys because they've been in the league longer. They're playing the guys that give them the best opportunity to win. And Nick Scorton has proved to be one of the arguably one of the best second rounders we've picked in the past decade.
Oh, dirtiest for sure.
Yeah, dirty player for sure. But it's I think that I still have concerns with regard to Evero's defense. Because I have yet to see them do this in such a consistent way where we go up against a Buffalo Bills or a New England Patriots or any of these teams, and they're just like the best opportunity they had was, or the best performance they had was this week against the Packers. And arguably, if you go back and watch the tape, there's plenty of people who are making the argument the Packers beat themselves and it wasn't the Panthers that were, I think there's a bit of both in that. I think the Packers didn't play their best ball. But I also think the Panthers had an impact on that.
Yeah,
but when you talk about everybody else but the Packers, the high-end offenses that we've played, we haven't played well as a defense. We've played well enough, but we have not played well.
I don't listen to a ton of syndicated large-scale national media, not because I don't think any of it's worth anything, but I have podcasts queued up. I support independent media. This. But occasionally, if I don't have a podcast queued up and I'm in a rush and I'm on the way to work or taking the kids to school, you click on the radio, and Two Pros and a Cup of Joe is one of the syndicated shows. And it is LeVar Arrington, who I love, Brady Quinn. Brady Quinn, sorry, he don't like the Panthers right now because he's down on the Panthers just because he lost bets against them. He's a big gambler, and not because it has to do with anything about the Panthers as a team, but he just got the bet wrong. Jonas Knox, though, who I actually don't like, is kind of annoying, but he's almost adorably annoying, he's almost like him because of his. But he said the Panthers are the nicest team in the league. And he talked about, which I remember I made the Dave Canales happy smiley. He is the Ted Lasso coach.
Yeah.
You got Bryce Young who says everything, and he described, and the reason I bring this up, he said that even Evero and this defense that's doing great is a nice guy coach. I want to go this is talking about dirty players and Nick Scorton, which by the way, he's not a dirty player. If you're just tuning in, you'll be like, oh, like this. Let me put this up. How do I gotta do when we don't have Cody doing the show?
Oh yeah.
All right, so this comes up, and Nick Scorton loves cats, by the way. Nick Scorton has 3 cats. He likes cats. So there's nothing better as a segue than dirty cat loving Nick Scorton and the Meow Mix podcast, which has become another viral story. CK is like, it's strange. Not strange, but like we got this viral moments. We talked about this. Is this been the theme of tonight's show? Meow Mix put out this message after, I think it was the loss to maybe it was the Patriots. See the Patriots? I think it was the Patriots loss.
Yeah.
That they're like, we can't do it anymore. We've sacrificed. We've been doing this since 2019, but like we're gonna give time to our families. Carolina Panthers, thank you for being so good that we can hang out with our buddies instead of our families. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I love my family, but it is nice to hang out with your buddies. Good dad game, but the Meow Mix story does not go away.
No, it's wild how it's sticking around.
It's got legs.
Yeah, it's got legs. Well, it's an interesting story, and it's almost a worse. Like normally in a situation like this, I would say this is like the best thing that can happen to them as a podcast, right? They got national attention. Every person in the fan base knows who they are. Former players know who they are, but they might honestly be in the worst situation that they could possibly be in, because they've got the legs now, right? If they go live now, they have an opportunity to catch lightning in a bottle and propel themselves forward. The problem is, if they go live this week, which they've already announced they're not, and we lose to the Saints, the hate that they are getting for the entirety of their podcast is so substantial, from not just from Panthers fans,
not the fans. It's like
from the former players, even Trey Boston and Jonathan Stewart is an example, right?
Or Icky. Icky said, "Stay where y'all at."
Yeah, right. And well, here's the thing I have an issue with is it almost to me feels like people want them to stay gone because they think they stopped being fans. And the reality is Meow Mix didn't stop being a fan. They even said they would be back. They just wouldn't be able to do what they were doing previously, which was every single game, a post game, every single week, 2 or 3 times going live, things like that. That is all completely understandable. Plenty of podcasts and content creators do that. But it almost felt as though, now Trey Boston was very gracious in how he handled it. He said, take one for the team. Panthers Nation will owe you one, right? There's a superstition to it. The way Icky approached it felt like it was more like you weren't with us then, you're not with us now type of thing.
And he said stay where you're at. I don't think it was even that bad. It's just kind of, I mean, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just they're in a really tough position. There's no way they can come back right now.
Actually, I have a pathway for their success. All right. And I think this is what they should do. All right. What I think is
go under C3 network. I'm just kidding.
No. What I think they should do is come out and just put a video message up or something, right? Like something that could hit, that can continue to get on this, and say, you know what, we are sacrificing. Like we've maintained our fandom, like this and that, but we're going to come back next year.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back. Year.
We're gonna come back, in the off season.
Right. Yeah,
we're
exactly.
Gonna come back
at the end of the season.
If we're out of the playoffs, we're gonna come back. Whenever we're no longer playing football this year, we're gonna come back.
And I think what they could do, CK, is that they've gotten the exposure, right, is the people that have followed, subbed, hated, whatever the name. And then really is that over the long term of a podcast, I would guess that it's about the fan that devotes a crazy amount of time to the team that really is truly about your success. So getting 1 million views on your podcast from people that don't care about the team or anything, how much does that lead to long-term success? One time I saw this on a viral tweet that it was like, it had like 50,000 retweets. Yeah. You know, man, it was like, man, I wish I had a tweet that ever hit like this. And I clicked on their bio and they had like 4,000 subscribers. Right. So they had all of this and it didn't translate to long term. So what I think they can do is they can get that like pump of exposure, but say, you know what, we are sacrificing ourselves or not. It's like, look, we really are true fans and we're still fans, but you know what, we're going to stick around. We're going to be back, but we said we were dipping out. And I think that might even generate like some grace or at least some loyalty from Panther fans who will listen to the podcast in the long run.
Yeah.
All right. And then, but you're right, is like, this is a weird story because, I mean, if you read this blog right here, and I want to see if the Barstool, if you click on this story, and all right, let me see if I just do this. No, did not change. Here, do this. The story is kind of bizarre, and I don't know what I think about like Barstool on this a little bit. Yeah. You know, like I don't know how to feel about this. So they put this up like as it starts out this just a brutal beat here. If you're a loyal Meow Mix listener,
which,
like,
by the way, it's so funny that part right there. A loyal Meow Mix, like it's
like some of the people at Barstool.
They weren't.
Do they have a friend at Barstool?
No, I think they just they had one of the guys from Meow Mix. They had one of the guys from Meow Mix on their podcast. Like, okay. So they're now acquainted with their acquaintances at this point.
Well, that's maybe.
But here's the thing, and this is no shade to Meow Mix, but the idea, like if you're a loyal Meow Mix listener, let's keep in mind, guys, they're not like P&P, right? They're not. They were grinding it out just like the majority of the content creators. We have been. Yeah, like we have been. It was like when you're talking about they have people. But it's like to have this be on Bleacher Report is hysterical because it makes it feel the way they write this article gives you the impression that this is like
this one's from Barstool.
Yeah.
And it says this, they keep going. It says, well, turns out Dave Canales and company don't actually suck and somehow may be looking at playoff spot if they continue this run. The roster goes on. Yesterday they announced they were back. After the Panthers beat the Packers, they said they returned to what they love doing the most, recording a podcast about the Carolina Panthers team. Many were happy, but some, including former players. I want to look. I don't think Jonathan, and I'll blow this up a little bit so you might be able to see it better on the screen. I don't think Jonathan Stewart said this with crazy.
No, he's doing the exact thing Trey Boston's doing. Yeah.
Is that like, come on, like this has kind of become superstitious at this point.
Oh, it's 100%
right. Hilarious to think they go on to say that people genuinely believe that if Meow Mix makes a return to the airwaves, the season's doomed. But it looks like they're actually obliging. And no longer. So then Big Cat's tweeting about this, and Meow Mix put out a post. And I'm not, I support every independent creator like as much as I can, right? So I'm not dumping on them. It's just this story is like, how do you not talk about this? Even though we planned, they wrote, to record last week before the results against Green Bay, we won't be recording due to the overwhelming response from former players. They highlighted former players. They didn't say fans, by the way. We were just a small, fun podcast since 2019. Needed a break from the time we spent putting in the show. And what I think that is, I was like, I've been somewhat fascinated by this story, CK, and that is like, how do the legs remain so leggy?
Yeah,
in a sense. The other thing is, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna tell them. I've made a suggestion on maybe it was a post game or last week is like come back, but just come back as like a cat podcast where you just talk about cat videos.
Yeah, meow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do something. It's like we're not back. We're not ruining the superstition. I think this, but here is like I like to get in the comments to see what the vibe was.
Yeah,
and a lot of mean shit. Right, like the
Yeah.
internet
Oh, it
is
was.
mean. It's like fuck y'all suck. You're not. I mean, like visceral shit. That is, and I don't know. I do think, and look, I'm gonna be honest with them. When they put that post up, it was a little self-serving.
What that part where that was like
We're so
did
sad
break
that
it.
we've
Yeah.
done this. Is like I think that was like
I think it was to try to get them to say that they were okay. Well, you can come back now. It was like it was. I think
the
it was
first one when they said like,
Oh,
we got to
well-
give this. Like I felt like it was a little like.
I don't think so. I think they were.
This
I
felt a
think what it
little
is,
sappy for me.
They probably have a fan base, right? I mean, clearly they do. And to just go away without having any information that they could follow up on was probably what they had in mind.
Maybe I wanted to make it on the podcast rather than.
Yeah, but we got to keep in mind too. So a lot of people are want to talk about Meow Mix. Meow Mix, they've been doing the content through the losing seasons.
Sure.
Well, let's not like
They
let's not
started in
pretend-
losing. They've been doing it
Right.
through losing.
Right. Let's not pretend like they just decided to stop watching the Panthers or doing a podcast about the Panthers because we're losing. They knew they were doing this while we were losing, and it just got to a point where we all had felt it. Like, let's not be real. Like, let's be real about it. We all have had the thought over the past few years that do we want to continue to talk about this? Like, normally, what would be a time to come on here and just be able to hang out with the boys and have a good time talking about the Panthers became
We've
a
all
burden.
been through it. I almost didn't
Yeah.
want to watch games last year.
Yeah, I mean, so nobody can blame them for now. It's the problem is like had it not gotten the legs that it's gotten, like come back, you do your thing. Nobody's gonna say anything about it. But the moment Barstool decided to pick up that story, you are done. You cannot come back. You cannot come back. It does not matter.
Even with the other one, right?
What do you mean?
SB Nation or
I think
Was
now
it-
I think Barstool was the first one, wasn't
Was
they?
it?
Yeah, and then everybody kind of everybody else kind of followed.
It
suit.
made me. They were talking on national media. Cam Newton's talking about it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at these comments. I love Panther fans. Look, keep grinding. Do whatever's best for you. My personal editorial suggestion is to try to capitalize on that momentum and also get the loyalty fan base. But do whatever you want. But my
Bleacher Report might have
favorite
been
part
first,
of
you
the
might be right.
comments, though, and all of these stories had nothing to do with Meow Mix, and it had to do with this is what kind of fucking tweet? Because this was the tweet that Barstool put out by Karam. The Meow Mix podcast that shut down earlier this year because the team sucked announced their return, then and unannounced it because former players told them to keep it canceled. And people were like, why is every fucking word capitalized? Why are these run-on sentences in this tweet? This was my favorite part of this is like Barstool, you dickheads.
Getting roasted.
At
for this.
least get a fucking better tweet and headline. Read it. I mean, look, every word is capitalized.
Yeah.
At the Meow Mix Panthers podcast that shut down early this year because the team sucked, announced their return, then and unannounced it because former players told them to keep it canceled. Man, Barstool, you got to use the AI better, bro. Use it better.
Yeah, it's when I read it
that
at
made
first,
me
it
laugh.
was It did get me a bit confused the first time I read that, because it did feel like they were saying they were coming back, and then the unannounced didn't read the way that I think it should have
announced.
It announced
so...
and then unannounced. It was just like it was very jumbled. But
what a
when
worst
you talk about
tweet.
When you talk about the comments, though, the comments were brutal when they were announcing they were coming back. Like, Panthers fans were visceral, like, when it comes to how they reacted to that.
The internet allows people to be that way.
Yeah, it was, and the thing is that I like, even though that Trey Boston and Jonathan Stewart and Icky probably, I mean, let's just, it's all of them probably meant it in good fun. Yeah, in superstition, not because they were saying like you're not a fan because you quit on us already or anything like that. A lot of fans took them telling them not to come back as let's attack, let's jump on this. These guys are not Panthers fans, and you're never going to be one of us again. And I think that it's going to be interesting when they do come back, because it's going to be I agree there's momentum, but I think where there's an equal amount of momentum, there is a substantial amount of hate that is going to be, you think
imagine managing their Twitter and looking at it and being a Panthers fan. The one thing I will point out, though, about like players getting the mix with this, and I didn't feel like anybody was out of line. Like, I don't think the Jonathan Stewart, I don't think they were. That this idea, though, is that like a fan can't have a bad day.
Right.
Imagine if, like, what if we were like, pay us back your salary?
Yeah.
If you had a bad press conference or you didn't play well. It's really, it's like, this is a wild dynamic about sports, is how loyalty plays into it. Because when we talk about it, it's like, I always support players, money decisions, making decisions. It's a business, this and that. I want them to love the team. I want them to do those things, but I respect this. But I'm not like, imagine if you were like, if a player was like didn't play well and you were like, give us back part of your contract.
Yeah.
So, it's viral week for Panthers.
It's a wild time to be alive, man. It's a great time to be a content creator in Panthers Nation.
I guess maybe, maybe for some. We'll see if you can capitalize it.
Yeah.
Hopefully you go viral like Carolina Mike, and it turns into longevity. And hopefully you're not like that one tweet I saw that had like 150,000 retweets, and you got 4,000 followers. Let's go through the last couple more calls.
Hello,
finish
this
the
is
show.
Michael Wydrake. For starters, I would like to say congratulations on the win for the Panthers. And I got to shout out my grandmother. She may not be here physically, but in spirit, she helped us win that game. And keep pounding, boys.
And look, and Meow Mix, I'm not trying to be mean to you guys. I really don't. I mean, like, and I'm not being mean, but like, so here's some things as Jeff said. What is Meow Mix? Another person said, who is Meow Mix? One of the comments I saw that was like, damn, this fucking hit hard. It's like, how's this story got this legs? And they got 100 subscribers.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck. That hit hard. And it cut hard because you know what? This business is tough. I remember Steve Daner. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. I remember the first person that followed me on Twitter when I started this, Steve Daner. I mean, like, it is hard to grow and get subscribers. So I'm not shitting on that. Cam Newton, please talk about Tony Dunn. Please. Let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, John B. Jenkins here. Just wanted to call in and give my own personal David Davo, whatever, balling out, Rico Dowdle balling out.
Come on, say it with your balls.
I want to give some acknowledgement to backup right guard Jake Curran. I just looked
Finally,
this guy up
somebody
so
knows
I
his
know a little
name.
bit what I'm talking about. But Jake Curran, number 74, is the guy who came in for Chandler Zavala when he went down. And go back and watch this guy fill in. This dude was signed onto our practice squad on October 1st from the Bears. And this mofo was pulling on a play. I can't remember what play it was, but I just remember seeing 74 running across the screen, pulling from the right to the left.
I already
Up a
forgot
big
his
ol'
name,
hole for
CK.
Rico. And I'm thinking, this dude is filling in as a third string offensive lineman and is pulling like that.
I hope he says it one more
Y'all,
time.
look, when you get to the league, I don't care if you're a buster in the league, but you are a pro. You are the best of the best. And I can tell you that because I watch dudes that try to make it to the league and never get there. Like sometimes even the best of the best in the ELF can't beat one of the scrubs, the bench players on an NFL team. I mean, look, we are watching the best football players in the world, and that dude, Jake Curran, balled the fuck out. So I just want to give him some props. He deserved some special attention from us as Panther fans. This game was awesome. I think I don't know.
All right. Oh, of course. Thank you, John B, my man. How about the man that brings us alternative sports and talks about Panthers in different nations? He's the only guy that knows the dude's name.
No, I know.
It is good point though. Two more calls.
What's up, y'all? It's Lucas from Forest City. I just wanted to tell y'all, thank y'all for what y'all do. I've been listening to y'all for probably about 5 years now, nothing but losing seasons. And y'all keep me entertained. Y'all keep me updated about my team, and I appreciate that. Y'all stick around through the tough times, and I appreciate that. Not like other podcasts like Meow Mix, who aren't around for the tough times. If they can't handle the
Be
Panthers
good dads.
at their worst, they don't deserve them when they're at their best. So I just wanted to thank y'all. Keep pounding. Go Panthers.
Be good dads. It's okay. I don't really have an opinion on it. It's just wild.
Yeah, it's not. I understand where people maybe feel like it's I don't know, advantageous or it seems.
I don't want to
though
capitalize on this.
Yeah.
I don't want to capitalize on this. The multiple viral stories going around for the Panthers. Carolina Mike, Meow Mix part of it. I do think, look, I mean, come back and just make cat videos.
Yeah.
To the end. It's like, you know what? We're gonna just talk about cats and meow. Last
Hey
call.
guys, keep pounding. Steven Surfside Beach calling in. Loving the game on Sunday. That was a magnificent display of skill and intelligence. We got to run Rico as much as he can handle, and but don't forget about Chuba though, because he jumped on that fumble and got 8 yards out of it. That was important, and he also made an important first down in the game too later on. So those two guys are definitely necessary. I'm very pleased with the team, and now I'm looking forward to next week now where we can beat the Saints. I used to think the Saints was a game to go to, which would make let us recover from a losing streak with some good teams. But now now to me it's a trap game. So the whole perspective has changed. So like I said again, keep pounding, guys, and I hope we have another good thing going on Sunday.
Thank you for the call, Steve Dominiquez 5517 as Rico Dowdle got banged up. Any word on the severity? You know what? We don't have any word on what that's going to do to his position or his health overall. He was a warrior and came back like he almost was like refusing to come off the field. I don't think they were. They didn't ask him to, He wanted it.
Right.
And then he just went and got it too. That was the awesome part about it. It's like, oh, you're nicked up. And then he just got more. Dave Canales did mention like maybe they overused him a little bit.
Yeah.
Rico, we're about organized crime. Let the Rico charges stack up. Hold on, I got this stupid. I pulled down the show. So we got last couple of things just to talk about. We're not going to go over in depth in this. Carolina Panthers are playing the Saints this week. People are talking about this as a trap game. CK, I don't think this is a trap game. I think this is the Panthers should win this game. They're 5.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
Right now, though, Chase Young is playing well, which is interesting too, because you go back. I love when storylines converge.
Yeah.
And Chase Young and Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin was Defensive Player of the Year that year.
I don't disagree.
Because of the
pedigree,
cachet of a first-round pick.
Yeah.
At the end, Chase Young got it. But then he's been a non-story, but also a great story too. Like, I mean, he's actually a player that I've kind of rooted for in a sense, and was potentially could have been a Panther at a moment. Like, as we're trying to piece together Jadeveon Clowney or something like this. Young, 6-year pass rusher, was forced to miss the first 5 games of the season, though, which comes back to an issue with him of injuries since returning in week 6, which means he's played like 3 games.
Right.
He's been dominant. He's been a bright spot. The Saints defense. He's got 3 sacks in 4 games. All right. So Chase Young is the only thing to think about. But the New Orleans is dealing with a rookie quarterback. When the Saints drafted Louisville quarterback Tyler Shug in the second round of this past April's draft, and thanks to Panthers.com for this, he was thrust into quarterback competition with second-year pass rusher Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner, who nobody's ever heard of. Following Derek Carr's offseason retirement, Rattler was named the starter and held that position for the first 8 weeks. However, after struggling in a loss to the Buccaneers, Rattler was benched in favor of Shug in his first start Sunday. Actually, it wasn't that bad, CK. Statistically, 15 for 24 for 176, 1 interception, first career touchdown. Shug is sacked multiple times. Here's the thing, though. I listened to a Saints podcast today, and they weren't even sad. They were like, let's trade everybody. They didn't care about any of this. They weren't like latched onto anybody. They're about accumulating things. And how about this? The Panthers are hosting the New Orleans Saints. We're trending. They're selling. And they've traded a first-round pick in Trevor Penning to the Chargers, and they only got a 6th-round pick for him. They also traded Rashid Shaheed, which I was listening to this Saints podcast, and they were celebrating this. It's like, man, we want to trade. We want to be sellers. They were happy. Yeah. Those guys were not even in the dismal. They were just like, this is what it is. The Panthers are going against a team that's got a rookie quarterback against they just traded a starting offensive lineman. They just got rid of a weapon. And congrats to Rashid Shaheed, who was an undrafted player, by the way, who turned into be a player. But they are not only bad or struggling, but they're getting rid of players that were the best part of their team.
Yeah.
And then their offense, CK, is fucking abysmal. Kellen Moore, who is an offensive coach, when I was listening to this Saints podcast, they said they didn't want to watch. They were just like, give us our defense. It's not even good, but this offense has no identity, no anything to it. Kellen Moore in his first 5 years as a head coach, coming off a 2024 season in which he won a Super Bowl as offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is by Panthers.com. There are a few notable trends in the league. Average time of possession for the Saints is 26, 38. It's last in the NFL. In the last game, CK, they played the Rams. The Rams had double the possessions.
Yeah.
Double the possessions and almost triple possession time. There's nothing to be scared about this Saints team. The thing, there's nothing. They don't run the ball. They can't stop anything. I'm telling you right now, the Carolina Panthers, I'm not telling you anything. Is actually, I will say a fact. The Carolina Panthers currently are 5.5 point favorites.
First time all season that we've opened up as favorites.
Thank you. And if you don't cover this and beat these motherfuckers, I'm going to be mad. All the money's on Carolina. I don't know why we think about these mugs right now, but it's important.
Yeah. So I'll with regard to their I don't know, apathy towards the Saints situation. The Saints have been they've been avoiding a rebuild with just they should have committed to a rebuild 5 years ago. After Drew Brees retired, they should have at that point in time realized the rebuild was necessary. And they're now in a situation where they're probably wishing they had, just based on how the things are falling. They had been playing with manipulated the cap significantly for years. And I think it's coming to roost, and that's kind of where we're at now. They have a need at quarterback. I think that if you're a Saints fan, winning this game against the Panthers, while in the moment may feel like good, I think at the day after they're going to be disappointed that they win this.
Yeah, they need that. They want the number one draft pick.
They want the draft. They don't care about winning right now in the slightest. I don't feel like that. Again, in the moment, they're going to feel, elation if they were to win some games or something like that. But for the most part, they're going to overall, they're going to be looking at this as like a net loss if they end up winning this game. So
you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. We're here every Tuesday night post game. After the game on Sundays, Friday free for all. We're the longest running Panthers podcast. You can call it celebratory, but actually been doing this since 2013. We can keep doing it. And it might be, there's people in my life that are like, why? I'm be like, why not? Because I love y'all. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. There's the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. Let's ice some football. It's our homage to Steve Smith, where it's the longest running segment, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. CK, do you got anything for me tonight?
My ice up is going to be, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just talk about politics for 2 seconds. There was a candidate here in Virginia who was a prostitute who was going for the attorney general. His name's Jay Jones. And the idea of this guy winning was just like, to know a little background, the guy there's been a lot of text messages of this guy saying some pretty horrendous stuff about wanting to kill an opposing person's kids just so he changes his viewpoint on certain things. You've heard of this, right, Tony?
No.
His name's Jay Jones. He was texting.
That was
somebody,
a UFC fighter, by the way.
He was. I think it's Jay Jones. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And he was basically tweeting saying that he wanted to kill him, and then he said, "Actually, I want to kill him. I want to kill his family and his kids in front of him, so that he changes his viewpoints to be more in line with the Democrats because he's a Republican." And then he doubled down on a different text message thread where he said something very similar. And then he tried to come out and say, like, it's a text message if you were, all this stuff. But it was like pretty and then he even said, "I'm not even kidding." Like, that's like to the point, like, like
unapologetic.
Yeah, like, I'm not even kidding, like in the text message. So it was like clear. And they just elected him as the new attorney general of of Virginia. And I am sickened by the fact that people in this state feel as though that was a better alternative. It's kind of just eye-opening to the situation where people are not voting for
starting
people.
Chuba Hubbard over Rico Dowdle.
You're voting because you believe one thing about a party and that's it, and you're not voting for the person. That's a concern to me, because I did on my ballot. I voted for the person. I actually had 2 people that I voted for that were Republican, 1 person that I voted for that was Democrat, because they had my interests more in line than anybody else. And the problem with that is that it's clear that there's an entire group of people who don't think that way. And it's really concerning. So it is what it is, but I'm icing up people who find that that seems acceptable from the guy who's going to be then prosecuting criminals in the state.
My ice up pick goes to this kid. Also, a thank you.
He's in! Finally! It's hard to tell with their weird football helmets if it's the football or the actual helmet, but I think that's the football. Yeah! Thank you! It took the whole goddamn game. Yeah! We are tied! Get out! Ah, no! Oh my God! We're done for! Rico Dowdle again! That man is on a mission! Ice the kicker, ice the kicker. Trying to make myself feel better right now. Stressful times we're in right now. Here we go, everybody. Tough place to kick in. Rookie kicker Fitzgerald. Panthers not good team, so maybe. What? We lost to the Panthers! Oh my God!
My ice up pick goes to this. Thank you. Most incredibly awful, annoying video. And you know what? Look, I mean, little kid, a child, ultimately trying to internet it. Good for you. Awful video, but thank you for it. So fuck y'all and ice up. The Panthers won. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. I got the Panthers winning. CK, do you?
Oh, God.
Are you gonna really do it? You're gonna pick the Saints? Are you? Oh my God, he's falling into the superstition shit right now.
I'm gonna pick the Saints to win.
Oh, you dick. Wow,
Right.
that's some superstition. Thank you, CK. You saved us. This is the C3 Panthers podcast. We're here Tuesday nights, Friday free fall on Friday, Sunday post game. Thank you for your time and attention. Smash the thumbs up button. CK, I love you. Thank you for your time and attention. Everybody, keep pounding.